ICENET. Dynasties live here.
Well, we have a look at Ed Mio, the goaltender for the New York Rangers. During the season, he played in 25 games with a record of 13 wins, 6 losses, and 5 ties. And in the playoffs, his record is 3 wins, a loss, and a 3.85 goals against average, having given up 18 goals in 280 minutes. He was involved in a collision in the Philadelphia series. He and Paul Holmgren got messed up in front of the goal mouth, pulled a muscle, played the first period in the opening game of this series, and then had to retire in favor of Steve Weeks. No change for the Islanders. It will be William Smith in goal tonight. Smitty has lost only twice to the Rangers in playoff action ever. The Rangers to the right, the New York Islanders to the left. The sellout crowd at Madison Square Garden, making sure their Rangers know that they're behind them. Well, there are a few Islander fans scattered amongst the crowd of over 17,000, but they won't be nearly as vocal as this Ranger gathering.
We are privileged once again to have with us to sing our national anthem, Patty LaPone.
There's Patty LaPone with her rendition of the national anthem. And I must give some credit to the crowd. Tell you about that in a moment as we look at Randy Mitten, one of the linesmen. There's the referee for tonight's game, Dave Dewell. And the other linesman assigned is Ron Finn. Congratulations to the crowd. There was nothing thrown on the ice during the singing of the anthem or at its conclusion, which is unusual in playoff records in this building between these two teams.
We have seen all kinds of things, from fish, bottles, everything, but the fans want to get the game started. I don't blame them, Jakes. This should be a fine hockey game, a playoff game. Something wrong with the ice, Mike Bossy points out. The off-ice officials are from Buffalo. Scorer, Hank Oljathak. Timekeeper, Louis Media. Great name for a timekeeper, Louis Media. Penalty timekeeper, Dave Regan. Goal judges, Sam Costello. He's at the 7th Avenue end. And Mario Moretin, 8th Avenue end. All from Buffalo Sabre Country.
We have a look at Herb Brooks, the Ranger bench. I presume that you're aware that there was a circus performance here this afternoon. That's the 8:30 start.
Now, we were all aware when we arrived, going up in the elevator or coming up in the elevator.
Isn't that the truth? Al Arbor hopes there's no circus performance here tonight. It's a good, clean, all-round performance. Bob Bourne, Mike Bossy, and Brian Trottier, and the puck came back to Puffin. The first shot is saved by Neal, and Duguay mishandled it in front of his own goal. It's picked up by Rogers. Up the left side to Beck. Barry Beck checked momentarily. Trottier in front to Bossy. A drive went wide on the stick side. Trottier with the rebound. Rifled it around the boards to Bossy. Out in front, cut off by Neal. Rangers played up the left side for Rogers, ahead to Duguay, and Potvin knocked it off his stick. Here's Bourne back from his own zone to Denny Potvin. Potvin lost it. It's dumped into the near corner, but offside. Face-off comes outside the line.
Couple of close chances. The Islanders right at the start of the game. Barry Beck gave the puck away, the first move in his own end of the ice. And from there, the Islanders get a couple of opportunities. They missed on one. Neal made the save on the other.
Now Butch Goring comes to center ice. Bob Nystrom will be on the right side. The Rangers just now completing their changes. John Tonelli is on the left wing for the Islanders. That's Langevin and McEwen together on defense. Langevin unable to clear it out of his own zone. Eddie Johnstone went to the backhand. Turns, lets a shot go, and Smith got a piece of it. Cleared around the boards. Dory holds it in. Andre Dory checked by Tonelli. Now here's Fatorik for the Rangers. His pass blocked by Goring. Goring can't get in around Laidlaw, and the Rangers start from their own zone. Dory to Laidlaw. Laidlaw up the middle, out of the reach of his teammates. Tonelli had a stick on it, then Laidlaw ran into linesman Mitten. Goring plays it to the right side. Nystrom being tied up by Johnstone. Now Dory gets a piece of Nystrom as he cleared the puck in over the line. John Tonelli upended in his pursuit of it. Play goes on. And Don Maloney works it around to Eddie Johnstone. Johnstone fires it into center, down into the Islander zone, across the goal line. A race for it. McEwen got there ahead of Fatorik. They both went down, but we'll get an icing call. And a break in the action with the score. The Islanders nothing, the Rangers nothing. Brent Sutter is at center ice. Dwayne Sutter and Clark Gillies on the wings for the Islanders. Rangers out into center ice, and then Lennon lost it at the Islander line. This is Kenny Morrow to Gillies. Gillies unable to handle the puck on the left wing side. Dropped it back to Janssen, now to Morrow. Morrow into center ice, off Brent Sutter's stick. Neal out to cut it off for Carol Vadnais. Vadnais got it to Dave Maloney. The two Sutters in forechecking. Maloney around to the right side, and it's cleared into center ice. Coming back is Morrow. Being chased by Allison as he plays it up the left side to Brent Sutter. Over the Ranger line. Brent Sutter, a slap shot wide on the stick side, and it bounces out into center ice. Janssen fed it to Gillies. Back to Thomas Janssen, now to Morrow. Into center, and off Dwayne Sutter. On his own side of the center ice stripe, and then icing was waved off as Vadnais got back in time. Harold Vadnais to Mike Rogers, stripped of the puck. Here's Bourne trying to move in around Vadnais. Bob Bourne put it right through in front and cleared aside by Neal. Now Trottier got it back to the blue line. That's Lane into Bossy. Out of his reach, Bourne goes back in the net, tied up by Vadnais. In comes Trottier. They freeze it for a face-off to the right of Neal.
Team trying to establish a game plan. The checking is close. Saw Dave Langevin just after Barry Beck had given the puck away. Langevin does it inside his own blue line, and the Rangers had their best opportunity. Smith made the save.
Harold Vadnais had one of his best games of the season, I would think, in the opening game of the series at the Coliseum. He had speed that has been missing for many years.
He made a couple of the Islander defensemen look pretty bad. Once in the first period, once again in the third, as he split the defense and walked in on the net.
Played only 50 games in the regular season. Maybe that led to it. Now McClanahan into the Islanders zone. Makes it around the boards. Potvin comes out of the left wing corner. Into center ice to Bourne. Three Rangers back. Bourne stick handles over the line. Around routes of Lehnen. Back to the blue line. Here's Lane with a shot. They ruled that it came out over the line before Gordy got the shot away, and it's offside.
Ron Finn, linesman, standing right on the line, says it went out by a half a puck. That's enough. Any portion of the puck that comes out over the blue line and clears the line creates an offside if it's shot back in. There you see Gordy Lane going back to the bench. What a playoff he's had. He had a great series against Pittsburgh and has played well against the Rangers. You saw John Davidson.
Is that who that was? I thought it was an usher pointing to the seats.
Checking tickets. Big J.D.
Don Maloney, a centering pass, got away from everybody and ends up deep in the Ranger zone. Neal out to cut it off. Gillies into forecheck. Dave Maloney up the right side. Getting Johnstone's pass, intercepted by Caller, who's out with Merrick and Gillies. Here's Langevin giving to Mike McEwen. McEwen played it into center ice. Johnstone got it back from Dave Maloney. Sends Vittoric across the blue line, but Don Maloney was about 1.5 feet inside the Islander line on the left side.
Too anxious, generally offside. Maloney was standing still. He tried to time it, but he was wrong by 0.5 foot. Teams haven't really got going yet, Jigs. Both times when they have, the other team has been checking closely. Al Arbour going to get called back on his line change and defense change. Thomas Johnson, Ken Morrow waved back into the box. Rangers get the last opportunity to change in this building.
The Rangers got the draw as it comes back to center ice. Laidlaw flips it into the Islanders' zone, but again the Rangers are offside. Goring, Nystrom, and Tonelli, the forward line. McEwen and Langevin, the Islander defense. Nick Patillo is out for the Rangers. Allison at center ice, Connor on the right side, and now Al Arbour is able to get Morrow and Johnson out to replace McEwen and Langevin. Laidlaw and Dory, the New York Ranger defense. Goring ties up Allison, then Nystrom knocked down by Patillo. Tonelli given a bump, and Patillo ends up shooting it into the Islander zone. Smith cuts it off for Kenny Morrow. Honoring quickly as Morrow tried to feed it to Nystrom. It's picked up on right wing by Goring. Patillo hammers him with a body check. Nick Patillo. Well, he played it out into center ice, and it came right back to Nick. And Nystrom steps into Patillo. Off at the Ranger line. Laidlaw with it. Out into center ice, but right to Thomas Johnson. Johnson to Goring. Right side. Nystrom is over the blue line. Nystrom turns, dumps it around the boards, and then Patillo knocked Nystrom off his feet. Goring, in the meantime, has been knocked down. A pile up behind the Ranger goal. The puck still loose. Nystrom after it. And as Nystrom picked it up, play was called. We're getting a hand pass against the Islanders. There's a break in the action. 4:35 gone in the first period. A little confrontation between Nystrom and Patillo, but well, we're going to stay here and see if this develops into anything.
The Rangers going to establish a hitting game. Here we see Patillo on Bob Nystrom. Heavy hit by Nick Patillo. A break in the action. There is no score here at Madison Square Garden. We'll be right back.
Play just underway as the Rangers move in. Lennon shot one off the glove of Bill Smith. Gillies drops it back for Potvin. And he Potvin up the right side, but out of the reach of Dwayne Sutter, and it's brought back in offside. Dave Maloney didn't hesitate at the blue line. He just barreled right back in and caught a couple of his teammates there.
Number 28, Mikko Leninen. A good shot he let go, Jigs. He was in stride. European players, they all seem to be able to shoot the puck while in full flight without breaking stride. He let the shot go. Billy Smith got a piece of it with his catching mitt.
Right now, Billy Carroll is at center ice for the Islanders. Dwayne Sutter on right wing. Clark Gillies on the left side. The Islanders make a defense change. Johnson is out with Morrow. Every man inside the Ranger blue line for this face-off. Gary Burns is taking the draw. Vadney came over to talk with him before the puck was dropped. Burns tied up by Carroll, who got it to Gillies, then was knocked away by Vadney and out into center ice. Thomas Johnson is back. Johnson to Morrow. Morrow played it off Carroll's stick to Gillies. Gillies had lost his balance. Managed to break up a Ranger rush as Burns chased it, and now Johnson goes back. Thomas Johnson around to the right side. That's Dwayne Sutter. Sutter checked in his own zone. Dave Maloney goes back to the net. Unable to get it to Burns as Dwayne Sutter was back, so is Morrow. We'll get a face-off to the right of the Islander goal. A little shoving, but nothing that'll develop into anything.
That's the intensity in the players, Jigs. They want to win every little battle along the boards in the corners. They want to gain possession of the puck. The Islanders, of course, in their own end of the ice, excellent at it. Ken Morrow, one of the best. Time and again, he comes up with a puck when he's in a battle with another player for it.
Mike Rogers.
Yes, led the New York Rangers in scoring this year, 103 points. Fine season.
Think back to the shockwaves that went through the National Hockey League when that trade was announced just prior to the beginning of the season.
I still don't believe that Hartford made the deal. I can see why the Rangers did, but Hartford, I could not understand why they would give up a player of his caliber.
Now we watch Barry Beck start from the Ranger line. Dumps it in wide of the Islander goal, but again, the Rangers, anticipating the play, were offside. Anticipating, but not anticipating correctly.
Offsides, they can hurt. They break up your forward attack. That's, we often say, back-checking for the other team when you continually put your team offside.
5 minutes, 44 seconds gone in the opening period. Each team has had a couple of shots on goal. Hasn't been a penalty called thus far. Trottier is out with Bourne and Bossy for the New York Islanders. On defense, it's Lane and Poffan. McClanahan got it to the Islander line. Rogers had trouble with it, and now Beck has given it to Ruotsalainen to Duguay. Duguay backhands it in over the Islander line. Lane is there to pull it away from McClanahan. The Bourne, his relay was cut off, and there's Poffan with it. Right side to Bossy. Bossy back to Poffan. Then he took it off his skate. It's across the Ranger line. Poffan drop pass. Trottier over to Lane. Gordy Lane takes a look, and then his shot was deflected by Ruotsalainen. Poffan from the blue line. It hit McClanahan and squared, but not out. Lane works it around the boards. Back of the net is Bourne. Plays it to the left side. Poffan in from the blue line. Into the corner to Bourne. Bob Bourne trying to get away from Ruotsalainen. Put it out in front. Bossy shot hit the side of the net. There's Bossy to Trottier to Bourne. Bourne out in front. Bossy is dragged down. We'll get the first penalty of the game as Beck gets the call for hooking on Mike Bossy. There's a break in the action. The score, New York Islanders nothing, New York Rangers nothing.
Barry Beck, the first penalty of the hockey game, a hooking penalty on Michael Bossy right here in front of the net. You see Bossy go down. Neo's stick looked like it may be tangled up in his feet as well. The Islanders get a chance on the power play.
We watch Butch Goring, who's out with Nystrom and John Tonelli. Back to the blue line, that's Thomas Johnson to McEwen. McEwen back to Johnson. Johnson tried to center one, it hit Johnstone. Johnson with it again. In deep, fired, and it was deflected wide. Back to the right point, that's McEwen into John Tonelli. Tonelli checked by Dave Maloney, and it's out into center ice. Back comes McEwen, and there's Tonelli to help out along with Nystrom. Bob Nystrom to Mike McEwen. McEwen got tangled up with Eddie Johnstone. Now Nystrom pokes it in over the Ranger line. Earl Badney backhands it off the board. Poffan picks it up. A minute 18 remaining in the power play as Goring comes to center. Fed it to the right side for John Tonelli. Tonelli had trouble controlling it. Now Poffan gets in over the Ranger line. A drive. Beal the save. Headed off to Badney, and he slaps it to the blue line. Here's McEwen. McEwen centering one. Johnstone broke up that shot. A long breaking pass out of the reach of McClanahan. It was on the fly. Bill Smith around to the corner for Mike McEwen. 50 seconds remaining in the penalty against Beck as Nystrom comes over the Ranger blue line. Bob Nystrom to Bourne, and he tipped it wide. Trottier with it now to Bourne. Back to Trottier, out of the corner to the blue line. That's Poffan. Lets the shot go, and it deflected wide. Trottier centers, broken up by Patorik. Bobby Patorik into center ice. Right side to McClanahan. Poffan was there to knock it down. Denny Poffan. Brian Trottier. Trottier sends Gillies in over the Ranger line. Back to Bossy, and it was broken up. Patorik got entangled with his teammate. Now Poffan's shot was blocked, and the Rangers take over in their own zone. Eddie Johnstone shooting it down the ice.
Islanders having trouble on the power play, Jake. They can't make the right pass. They can't get the man in the open. If he is, the pass is in his skates. The Rangers end up with it and continually shoot it down the ice.
Now Beck ready to step out on the ice as Poffan controls it at the blue line. Islanders with a couple of shots, but nothing to beat Meehl. And the Rangers had a chance, but couldn't do anything. Then we're offside at the New York Islander line.
Again, the New York Rangers offside as Beck out of the penalty box runs into Dennis Potvin. As you see Potvin leaving, here's the collision as Beck takes the puck offside. Potvin, heavy check on Barry Beck right inside the blue line as the whistle blows.
Same two teams, same time tomorrow night. And we'll have it for you right here on Sports Channel, 8:30. Islanders and the Rangers, game 4.
The scoring leaders in this series for the Islanders, Trache, a goal and 3 assists, 4 points. Vatoric has 2 goals and no assists for 2 points. Ruotsalainen has 1 and 1 for 2. McClanahan 1 and 1 for 2. Johnstone has 2 points on no goals, and Dave Maloney the same.
Now Kenny Morrow out for the Islanders, tried to come out the right wing. It's played to the left side at center. Gillies got it away from Ruotsalainen. Gillies a big slap shot. Stick save by Mio, and the rebound was there, but cleared by the Rangers. At center ice, it's Ruotsalainen in over the Islander line. Ruotsalainen put it right in the skates of Kenny Morrow. Morrow up the right side. Off Bossy's stick, and it's picked up by Barry Beck. Brent Sutter out to forecheck. Beck got away from him. At the Islander line, his long shot was wide of the goal. And on the right side is Burns. Put it out in front. Rogers was there, but couldn't control it. Now Beck takes Sutter into the boards. Meantime, Kaller got the puck back from Langevin. Feeds it to Morrow. Morrow to the right side. Off Brent Sutter's stick into the Rangers zone. That's going to be called back for icing the puck. Islanders out shooting the Rangers 5-2, but with a break in the action, the score is tied. Islanders nothing, the Rangers nothing.
Clark Gillies a moment ago rips a slap shot. Tough angle, but he gets a lot on it. Here it comes. Beal can't control a rebound off a shot like that. Kick the puck away. Good stop by Mio. Hard shot by Clark Gillies.
Meantime, Brent Sutter moved into the face-off area with Silk, so they realign. On the draw, Trache got it to Langevin, to McEwen. Had to turn quickly to get away from the check. And McEwen carries it out of his own zone at center. Lifts it high in the air into the Ranger zone. Neal back to the net, let it go to Vadnais. Around to Allison. Dwayne Sutter checks him. It's loose back of the net, and Vadnais is there again. Vadnais to Silk. Dave Silk dumped it out into center ice. Back was Dwayne Sutter to Langevin. He's being chased by Allison. Langevin to Kaller. Now to Brent Sutter. They break out 2-on-2. Brent Sutter across the Ranger line. Dwayne cuts to the left, picks up the puck. Goes back of the Ranger goal, centered, and it was off the skates of McEwen. Langevin with a shot. Knocked down and cleared wide of the Ranger goal.
Close call, Jags. Dwayne Sutter come very close to tapping the rebound in.
Now Vadnais uses the boards to clear the puck to center ice. Backboard is Lane. Gordy Lane tied up by Allison. Managed to get it to Denny Potvin. No score in the first period. Potvin played it out of the reach of Billy Carroll, and it's loose back of the Ranger net. Will be called for icing. We're down to 9:17 remaining in this opening period.
7 shots in the game so far. The Islanders have 5. Of course, the Rangers 2. The only penalty in the hockey game, Barry Beck, a hooking penalty at 6:40. Not many shots in the game. It is close checking at this time. Here's Dave Langevin's shot. It gets blocked. Dwayne Sutter right there. Mio stretches out, thinking the rebound is on the net. Look at his head go down. Silk behind his net. Mio, his actions would make you think that he is hurting.
Yeah, I don't think he is 100%. Well, by this time in both of the previous games, we'd had some goal scoring. Friday night, Islanders led 1-0 at this juncture. The opening game of the series, it was 2-1 Rangers at this point. Patillo puts the hammer on Nystrom as they bump together again. Meantime, Cam Connor for the Rangers, unable to play it off the boards as Billy Carroll checked him. Here's John Tonelli. Tonelli cutting to the right wing into the Rangers zone, played it on goal, but Neal steers that aside. The Rangers trying to break out, but just dumped it into center instead. Denny Potvin to Lane. Lane takes a look, long pass off the boards. Tonelli chasing it. Dory picks it up. Lane, the rule was on his own side of the center ice stripe, so that's an icing call against the Islanders. A break in the action, the score. New York Islanders nothing, the New York Rangers nothing.
Now there is a young hockey fan. They can't be much younger here in this building. Mom and Dad come to the hockey game, they bring baby with them.
I like that idea.
Oh, the baby can sleep right here at the game, probably.
Are you kidding? Not tonight.
Well, not because of the game, but I'm sure somewhere in this hockey game, that baby is going to be tired.
Bob Bourne is out with Bossy and Trache for the Islanders. I'm sure we'll be tired before it's over, too. Johnstone around the boards. Here's Morrow. Eddie Morrow unable to clear it out. It came loose. Bob Bourne feeds it to Bossy. Bossy to Bourne. It was tipped by Ruotsalainen and comes in offside at the Ranger line.
Another indication of the close checking in the hockey game.
I think that's the key from the Islanders' standpoint, especially in this building. Take the skating game away from them.
Don Maloney, good body check on Ken Morrow. And then Maloney takes a check from Brian Trache. Some give and take in the hockey game. Again, it is very close checking. A lot of center ice play, a lot of offsides. See, Bob Bourne is finally shaved. He's a lot cleaner in the face department. His speed,
is that a hint?
Gets him a lot of chances. No, it's not a hint.
Okay. Rogers at center ice, got it to the Islander line. It was broken up and cleared by Trache to Bossy. Over to Bourne, comes in on the left side, can't slip around Ruotsalainen. Bossy dug it loose. Now to Bourne. Bob Bourne being tied up by both Ruotsalainen and Rogers. Bossy stole it, comes out in front, shoots, he scores! Bossy put it off the arm of Beal, and the Islanders take the lead. The goal at 12-12 of the opening period.
Michael Bossy. The opening goal, the Islanders have scored in every playoff game except one this year, the opening goal. Here's the fight along the boards, 2-on-2. Then it's 2-on-1, but Bossy steals it, comes out in front of the net, lets the shot go. Mio got a piece of it, but did not get enough, and the puck is in behind Eddie Mio, and it's 1-0. Here's what we talk about, the fights along the boards and in the corners. The Islanders win this one, and they get a goal from it, as Mike Bossy, his 5th goal of the playoffs, has given the Islanders a 1-0 lead.
12-12, the time of the goal. So the Islanders take the lead over the Rangers here at Madison Square Garden. Al Arbor has Brent Sutter out there with Dwayne Sutter and Clark Gillies. At center ice, Papan controls the puck. Kenny Papan to Mike McEwen. McEwen, a long shot wide of Mio. Dwayne Sutter in after, put it out in front, but it went right to Dave Silk. Silk lays it up the left side to Allison, but that's a two-line pass against the New York Rangers.
Another offside for the New York Rangers. Jakes, in the first period, against their opposition, the Islanders have scored 15 times to their opponents, be it either Pittsburgh or the New York Rangers. They have 6, and they have outshot the opponent 90-59 coming into tonight's game. In the first period, that is.
That's been the key for so many years. The Islanders jump on the opponents early. Get as big a lead as you can get, although it didn't work that way in Pittsburgh in those 2 games. For a while, it didn't appear as if it would work against Pittsburgh at home in Game 5 of that series. Now Duguay at center ice. The puck knocked off his stick. Rogers got it in over the line. Here's McClanahan. He fired it wide. Mark Gillies takes a look. Long pass out of the reach of Dwayne Sutter at center ice. Wide of the Ranger net. That'll be called back for icing.
Good opportunity for the New York Rangers. And McClanahan, he could have gone closer. He let it fly, missing the net on a golden opportunity. I thought he would go directly to the net. He had a jump on the Islanders. He may have been able to walk straight in. He elected to shoot and missed the net.
He's had some opportunities like that in almost every game in this series and has done something that you don't expect, although the one time that he did steal the puck in front of the net, he didn't fool around with that one, put it upstairs for a Ranger goal.
A pretty goal for the Rangers. But you get so many opportunities in a hockey game, particularly a close checking game. This one is. So far, 8 shots, and that is all. Islanders 6, Rangers 2, and you're not going to get a lot of shots if it stays like this, so you have to take advantage of the opportunity.
Trache took that draw. He has Goring with him along with Nystrom, and it's Goring moving into center. Over the Ranger line, the pass to Nystrom, back to Goring. He was knocked down, couldn't reach the puck, and here's Dory with it. Andre Dory around Ginelli to Patillo. Patillo across the Islander line. Langevin lined him up for a good hit. And there's Nystrom with the puck. Around behind the net. McEwen got it to the blue line. Laidlaw knocks it down, played it to the corner, but right to McEwen. McEwen to Nystrom, he is checked. Burns put it out in front, and Ken Connor fanned on it. Connor was a hero for the Rangers in the Philadelphia series in the first game of this one, And a great chance to watch Langevin being knocked down on top of the puck, and we'll get a face-off to the left. Bill Smith. A break in the action. 6:05 left in the first period. The score, the Islanders 1, the Rangers no score.
What a face.
Isn't that cute?
Hey, all right. Yes, sir. Happiness in Madison Square Garden. In the out-of-town game, Sports Channel scoreboard, Nordique's Peter Stastny has scored. And for the Bruins, O'Connell in that game is tied at 1 apiece at the end of one period.
Fans just reacted to the puck having been frozen on the boards in the Islanders zone, so they'll line up with Matorik taking the face-off against Brian Trottier. Don Maloney is on the left, Johnstone on the right for the Rangers. Don Maloney to Matorik, his shot, he scores! Matorik pulls Bill Smith with one from close in after the face-off, and we're tied at 1.
Robbie Matorik. Let's take a look. Right from the face-off, Trottier actually won the draw, but Don Maloney to Matorik, and the puck is bouncing. Billy Smith took a jab at it, but he was a little ahead of the puck, and it bounced off a stick and went over his right arm into the net. There's Maloney beating Gord Lane. Matorik takes the puck from behind and a spot ban, and his weak shot, it was a flipping shot, fooled Billy Smith, and the score is tied at 1 apiece. Matorik, his 6th playoff goal.
What a pleasant surprise he's been for the Rangers, especially in the playoffs. Now offside is called as Lenneman got in across the Islander line, but not before one of his teammates had preceded him. But Matorik at 14:06 from Don Maloney. It's only the 3rd shot that the Rangers have had on goaltender Bill Smith.
Speaking of shots on goal, Jigs, Islanders are led by Mike Bossy with 8 shots on goal. That's in this series. And the Rangers are led by Lennon. He has 6. Rutsalainen 5, Duguay 5, and Beck 4. And on the Islanders side, Thomas Johnson, Dennis Potvin, Wayne Sutter, and Brian Trottier all have 6 apiece.
On that Ranger goal, Don Maloney and Eddie Johnstone draw assists at 14:06. We're tied at 1. Thomas Johnson turning in his own line, fed it to Merrick, back into Janssen. Janssen to Morrow. Morrow at center, fires it around the boards, intended for Gillies. He let it go to Kaller. Anders Kaller closes through in front of the net on the backhand, and the shot went over top of the goal. Gillies bumped off the puck by Johnstone. Merrick steps into his man, but the Rangers have been able to clear it out into center. In the meantime, the whistle has sounded for some penalties. Sticks up a little. Mark Gillies is headed off for the Islanders. And for the Rangers, it'll be Eddie Johnstone, as you see.
Eddie Johnstone in the penalty box. Clark Gillies. Here's how the action started. As Badney looks on, Johnstone on Clark Gillies. It must be right here when Gillies swings his stick up. Johnstone swings his up. Most of those are threatening gestures. They do not make solid contact. They're just trying to give each other the message that the intensity is in the game and they both want to win very badly.
There's penalties called at 14:48 of the opening period. Duguay just knocked Lane down at the Islander line. And Potvin got it around to Bossy, and Duguay checked him, set him to the ice. Bossy, without his stick, has to go chasing it as the play moved into the Ranger zone. Duguay with the puck. On Duguay at center ice. As Beck coming across the line with him, Duguay went wide. Rache steps into him, and here comes Bossy. Down his off wing, Bossy working on Rutsalainen. Slips to the right side. Got it to Gord Lane. Lane to Trottier, and it was knocked away from him. Picked up at center ice by Potvin to Bossy. Mike Bossy to Trottier, comes across the blue line. Ryan Trottier is checked, and here's Duguay. Ron Duguay moving into center ice. Gave the puck to Rogers. Rogers at the Islander line had to slow up efforts to cross the line, and Duguay was in ahead of the play.
Another offside against the New York Rangers. So many times it has to hurt them. As the game goes on, they have but 3 shots. The score is tied, of course, 1-1. but the Rangers have had but 3 shots. They've made one of them good. A shot by Robbie Fatorik. It looked like it was partially blocked. It fooled Billy Smith as it flipped in the air. Smith made a move at it, missed it, and then it floated in behind him.
1 minute, 8 seconds remaining in the penalties to Johnstone and Gillies. That's Dave Maloney backing into his own zone, out into center ice for McClanahan. McClanahan forced to turn as both McEwen and Goring were right on top of him. Now Dave Maloney feeds it up left wing to McClanahan. Over the Islander line, drop pass to Fatorik, to McClanahan, and that was wide. McEwen back of the net. He was tied up by McClanahan and got away from him. Mike McEwen. Up the left side to Goring. Tonelli cut to the left, Goring to the right as he got into the Ranger zone. Goring off the boards. Unable to make the play originally, and it comes to Dave Maloney. Now to McClanahan, who's across the line. McClanahan to Dave Maloney. Maloney shot. Smith the save, and it's underneath the goaltender. McEwen covered up. No whistle, and the puck sprung loose for John Tonelli. Tonelli lugs it into center ice. Over the Ranger line, it was poked off his stick. Tonelli recovered, unable to get it to Langevin. John Maloney sends Lennon over the line. Here's Lennon cutting it off the left wing. Can't get around Bill Smith, who sprawled in front, cleared it to the corner. It's picked up. Don Maloney to Beck. Beck's shot sails wide. Bill Smith leaves it at the side of the goal. It's picked up there by Langevin. He's checked on the boards by Lennon. Lennon and Langevin freezing it, and there's no further play. Good forechecking pursuit by this Ranger team.
The best of the game for them so far, Jakes. The fans here in Madison Square Garden respond to the Rangers' aggressiveness in the Islanders' end. Lennon tries to beat Butch Goring. Goring gets after his stick, but Billy Smith, knowing that Lennon in the position he was with the puck way out on the end of his stick and cutting in, could not lift it. Smith grabbed it. He threw the puck away, but a Ranger beat the Islanders to the puck, and they continued the pressure until now.
Was he afraid that if he smothered it, he might be called for a delay of game?
He would
Nobody
be at
around
that
him?
point. He is at that point, but rather than just throw it to the corner, he obviously thought one of his defensemen or a forward were going to be there for him, and they weren't. A Ranger picked it up.
Canes are back at Six's side as we watch Trottier working deep in his own zone. We're tied 1-1 late in the first period, 2:48 remaining to play. Ryan Trottier sends Morrow into center ice. Kenny Morrow's attempt to backhand it in was knocked down. Here's Lennon on a break. One man back, that's Dwayne Sutter. Lennon knocked down. Dwayne Sutter is going to take a penalty. Dwayne Sutter gets up trying to take Lennon into the penalty box with him. And at the moment, referee Dave Newell has only one penalty. That's to Dwayne Sutter for hooking.
A mistake by the Islanders, Jiggs. The only man back, the only defenseman, wasn't a defenseman. It's number 12, Dwayne Sutter, as Lennon tries to get around him, gets partially around. Sutter puts the hook on him, brings him down, and gets a penalty for his trouble. Thomas Johnson, number 3, is the first Islander defenseman back, as both defenders, both defensemen, get caught up the ice. Not a good sign when you're playing against a good skating team like the New York Rangers. Jakes, it was 3 years ago tonight that Mike Bossy scored at 2:31 of an overtime game. It was the first game of the Stanley Cup series against the Rangers. That was the first game to go in regulation without a goal since Kenny Mosdell scored at 5:45 of an overtime period. Montreal scoring a 1-0 victory. Who'd they beat, I wonder?
October. Oh, Detroit.
They beat Detroit. It was a 0-0 game, and Kenny Mosdell scored at 5:45 of the overtime period.
Here we watch the Rangers on a power play. Dwayne Sutter off for hooking at 17:31. Killing it off, it's Butch Goring and Billy Carroll with Potvin and Morrow. This is Rogers into the Islander zone. Drop pass to the blue line. Just held in at the last second by Lennon, and now a breakaway, but play has been called. Billy Carroll came out of his own zone, but in the meantime, we've got penalties. Dave Newell calling 2 penalties, 1 against each team, nullified Carroll's clear shot toward Mio.
Tough break for the Islanders. Twin penalties. Right here, the Rangers have a chance. Here's Billy Carroll coming in to put the check on Lennon. Lennon shoots it away right on the stick of Carroll. Carroll, right at this point, is breaking away. There's nobody going to get him. But there are twin penalties to Butch Goring and Lennon, and that nullified the play as
Butch Goring receives
Billy
2 minutes
Carroll
for hooking.
was breaking
Number
away.
28,
He was all alone
the
from his
Rangers.
own blue line.
Mikko Lennon receives 2 minutes for slashing.
Well, as you heard, Lennon for slashing, Goring for hooking, and they're called at 18:01 of this opening period. 1-1 tie. Rangers still playing 6 against 5. Coincidental minor penalties. Here's Ruotsalainen moving in. The pass to Duguay was cut off and cleared by Potvin. Don Maloney jabbing at it. It rolled into the mesh and off the mesh. Islander captain Denny Potvin shoots it down the ice, and Mio comes out to cut it off. There is Ruotsalainen, the first man back. Born into forecheck. Now Kaller moves in as well. Ruotsalainen sends Don Maloney up left wing. Over the Islander line, Morrow slowed him up a little. Don Maloney put it out in front. Duguay moves in. Smith the save, and he covers up. Duguay breaking into the middle. A perfect setup by Don Maloney, only to be robbed by Bill Smith.
Good puck control, Jigs, by Ron Duguay. As he gets the pass right here, he hangs onto the puck, makes one good move, lets the shot go. Ken Morrow has a bear hug on him and brings him down. As you watch again, Don Maloney gets around Morrow, makes the play to Duguay. Duguay, one quick shift, lets the shot go. Smith has got it, lets go of it, but then hangs on.
Now Herb Brooks, the Ranger coach, has Fatorik at center ice. Eddie Johnstone moves to the left side. It'll be Cam Connor on the right. Al Arbor with Brian Trache out to take the draw. Bob Bourne, Denny Potvin, and Kenny Morrow on the ice as well.
First period score, Chicago 3, St. Louis no score.
Wow. Blackhawks jumped on the Blues early. Here's Fatorik moving in. Couldn't get a backhander away, and Potvin broke it up, then Bourne cleared it.
Bobby Fatorik making one move too many, allowed Potvin to knock it off his stick.
Now Fatorik unable to send Johnstone into the Islanders zone. Johnstone, the first man in, put it out in front. Connor chased to the corner. Got away from Billy Carroll. Connor, and his pass intercepted by Trache as he tried to put it on the stick of Dave Maloney.
Always a risky pass when you're crossing ice sides, one side to the other, in the other team's end of the ice or your own.
Now the Rangers at center ice. Here's Fatorik across the line, but offside. Johnstone stepped in over the line ahead of the puck carrier. 9 seconds left in Dwayne Sutter's hooking penalty.
Fatorik should have had the puck to him. Did not release Eddie Johnstone. He held the puck, tried to stick handle, moved laterally along the blue line. The Islanders standing up forced the offside. Chicago, Jigs, they scored the 3 goals in the first 3 minutes of the hockey game.
You're kidding.
It's in the first period, 17 minutes to play in the first period, and it's already 3-0 Chicago.
See where Tom Lysiak was quoted in that Minnesota series as saying the difference, they're all afraid of their coach now. So when you're afraid of the coach, you play better. Makes sense?
Well, yeah, always should be a little fear.
You ever afraid of Al Arbor?
I respected him. I wasn't afraid of him. There wasn't anything he could do to me that, I should be afraid, but I have a respect for his judgment. Another penalty in the hockey game to the Islanders.
Going to be a slashing call coming up here once the Rangers relinquish control of the puck. They've got Mio on the bench and an extra man out there. Fed it through to the left side. Fatorik comes in after it. Wayne Sutter bumped him in the corner, and as the Islanders control the puck, the fans disagree, but the slashing penalty will be handed out with 7 seconds left in the period.
I have to disagree too, Jigs. The Islanders have to gain control of the puck before the whistle blows. They obviously and clearly did not have control of the puck, and referee Newell blew the whistle. The Rangers at that point had an extra man on the ice. Mio had made it to the bench. They'd put the extra skater on, but the whistle blew and stopped the play.
Billy Carroll for slashing at 19:53. See how this penalty came about.
There's Billy Carroll, number 25 after Ron Duguay. There it is, no question. That's a penalty. 2 minutes for slashing. That's not like Billy Carroll to do that. He is not going to hurt Duguay with that, but it's still a penalty, and the referee's going to call it if he sees it. it's that flagrant, he has to.
They've had only 12 shots on goal through this first period, 6 by each team. In fact, the Islanders were leading the Rangers in that department 6-2 at one time.
Halfway through the first period, 7 shots. It was 5-2 at the halfway mark. Islanders over Rangers, shots on net.
7 seconds remaining in the period. We watch Duguay on the face-off. Trottier won the draw, getting it to the corner for Morrow. Morrow up the boards. It came to the blue line. Rutsalainen a long shot. Potvin cut it off in front, and there's the buzzer. That's the end of period 1. The shots are even at 6 by each team. The goals are even at 1 by each team. So after 20 minutes of play, the score tied. The Islanders won. The Rangers won. We'll be back with a recap following this message.
Young kids in our team just forgot you.
Nordiques had tied it 1-1 late in the first period on a goal by Anton Stastny. But now Middleton has scored at the 4:50 mark of the second period, and the Boston Bruins are in front of the Nordiques 2-1. At Chicago, goals by Murray, Wilson, and Higgins by 3:01 of the first period. Had them up 3-0, and then Babbage came back with a goal for St. Louis at 11:59 of the opening period. 3-1 Chicago, and later tonight, Vancouver and Los Angeles. That'll be getting underway in approximately 20-25 minutes at the Fabulous Forum
in Englewood, California.
One of the great lines I heard about that place when, well, in fact, it was written by John Hall in the Los Angeles Times back when Jack Kent Cooke owned the building. For those of you who've ever been to the Forum, you know it's situated on a corner on Prairie Avenue. On one side, you've got Hollywood Racetrack. On the other side, you have Inglewood Park Cemetery. And it was at the time when Mr. Cooke was on one of his firing sprees with the basketball team and the hockey team, and John Hall's line said it was a question as to which of those 3 establishments along that one street had laid to rest the most good men. The racetrack, the cemetery, or the Forum.
Good line. King in his 59th playoff game as an Islander. That ties him with Davy Lewis. He's with the Los Angeles Kings now. And Billy Harris, who used to be with the Los Angeles Kings and is now with the Toronto Maple Leafs, or he was when they finished the season, for 10th place in the all-time Islander list playoff games.
So we're ready for period 2. Billy Carroll in the penalty box for the Islanders, serving a slashing penalty. Butch Goring and Mikko Lehtonen with 1 second left in their penalties. Goring for hooking, Lehtonen for slashing. They'll have to sit until we get a play stoppage because those penalties were coincidental while a power play was underway. The Rangers are on a power play now as they start out of their own zone. Rogers gave it to Beck. Up the left side, Don Maloney into the Islanders zone. Trying to go back to the net, chased wide by Morrow. Got it to Beck. Over to Rutsalainen, and the shot went off his stick. Morrow fed it to Bourne up the left side and down into the Rangers zone. Rutsalainen around to Beck. Bourne into forecheck on him. Gary Beck left it. Mike Rogers takes a big circle up the right side out of the reach of Don Maloney, and Potvin hustles after it.
Jake, the last 19 times short, the Islander penalty killers have allowed but 1 goal. They've also scored 1.
We watch Beck feeding it back to Rogers in along the boards and stolen by Trottier. Starts out with Tonelli. That's Rutsalainen backing up. Trottier shot, stick save by Mio. And the Rangers move it out into center ice. Barry Beck over the Islander line. Beck a long shot off the glass, comes out on the near side. Eddie Johnstone fired it right on target. Smith covers up. They're going to face off to the left of the net. That'll get Goring and Lehtonen out of the penalty box.
Good opportunity for the New York Islanders as they moved in on the 2-on-1. Trottier had a good spot to shoot from. He did. The rebound went right by John Tonelli, and the Rangers picked it up.
Now watch what Billy Smith does here on Johnstone's shot. After he had made the save, there's nobody around him. He drops it. Morrow comes over. He covers up, seeing that Rogers is coming in, but very smartly, knowing that one of his better penalty killers is eligible to come out on the ice with a whistle, he gets Butch Goring out of the penalty box by smothering the puck.
Heads-up play by Billy Smith. That's what experience does for you. Also, concentration on what's happening in the game as well as just what's going on with the puck.
40 seconds remaining in that penalty to Carroll. On the draw, it was cleared by Morrow. Neal, the stick save. Trottier comes in to forecheck. He, Goring, Morrow, and Potvin out on the ice. Lennon hanging right at the Islander line in behind the defense, but the Rangers couldn't get the puck to him. Now Don Maloney shoots it around the boards. Bill Smith cuts it off for Morrow up the middle and down into the Ranger territory.
One of the arguments, Jigs, against shooting the puck in while you're on a power play. Giving up possession of the puck is demonstrated right there. Billy Smith went out quickly, stopped it. Kenny Morrow shot it down the ice.
Now the Rangers have trouble coming out of their own end. Ruotsalainen left side intended for Lennon, and that one astray. Haller on this left side. Kicked it in over the Ranger line. Teams are at 6 aside again. Bob Bourne moves in, ties it up on the boards, and there'll be a face-off to the right. Ed Meal, a break in the action. The score tied. Islanders won, the Rangers won.
We're back. Madison Square Garden. You know that in the first period, the Islanders defenseman had 3 shots, and the Rangers defenseman had none. I'll give you some more stats on that little thing that we've been keeping an eye on during the series at another time.
Brent Sutter, Dwayne Sutter, and Clark Gillies out on the ice, along with Langevin and McEwen at the points, and the Rangers move out to center. McClanahan tried to send Silk over the line, and that one astray. McClanahan, Allison, and Silk, the forward line. Ruotsalainen and Beck on defense. Brent Sutter took Ruotsalainen off the puck. Here's Gillies with a shot. Good save. Dwayne Brent Sutter, and the rebound was cut off after hitting Beck.
Close call. Beck ends up making the save. Islanders come close to gaining a lead.
Now Brent Sutter across the Ranger line. Draped on the boards by Beck. Ruotsalainen trying to play it up the right wing. It was cut off. Gillies to Dwayne Sutter. His shot. Meal the save. There's Beck out-muscling Brent Sutter for it. Gillies moves into the corner, and there's no further play. Now a fight breaks out. The Rangers, well, there may be 1, maybe 2 penalties. We'll see what referee Dave Newell is going to hand out here, but Dwayne Sutter played it very coolly. He just covered up.
He has both his gloves and his stick in his hand. It'll be interesting to see what Newell calls on Dave Silk. A break in the action. The score, the Islanders won, the Rangers won. We'll be right back.
Special free offer for you horse players. Call this toll-free number and we'll send you a coupon good for 1 free grandstand admission, plus free parking and a free program. Call now for a free grandstand admission, free parking and program. Call 1-800-228-3535. Aqueduct, where New Yorkers play to win.
Potvin, he wants to know, and I don't blame him. He wants to know why there was only a 2-minute penalty given. Here's the saves. The Islanders get a break. Brent Sutter to Dwayne Sutter on the check of Ruotsalainen. There's Gillies' shot, 1, and here's Beck's save off Brent Sutter. An altercation breaks out. Silk takes his gloves and drops his stick, takes his gloves off, punches Dwayne Sutter, and gets a 2-minute hooking penalty? Is that what I understand? A roughing penalty, 2 minutes. I think it's an automatic penalty for dropping your glove and sticks. We're going to look it up. We'll find out in a minute.
In the meantime, Islanders 6 against 5 as McEwen tried to send Potvin over the line, but Trottier had been pushed in ahead of the play. So the Islanders have to play it back into their own zone and went all the way to Bill Smith. Bob Bourne back of his own goal. Trottier picks it up, starts up the left side. Dropped it for Bourne. Bourne to Trottier, cuts to the right. Over the Ranger line, fed it in off the boards, takes it himself, but can't slip around Vadnais. Vadnais, the right side for Duguay to Vadnais. Vadnais at center ice. Over the Islander line, coming in around McEwen. Vadnais chased back of the net. Earl Vadnais dumps it into center ice. And for a while, you had to wonder who had the power play as Vadnais moved in unmolested. Less than a minute remaining in Silk's roughing penalty. McEwen over to Denny Potvin. Into his skates, back to McEwen. McEwen is checked. Bossy picks it up at the blue line. Mike Bossy fired one toward the goal that was knocked down and cleared by Vadnais. Potvin comes back. Johnstone into forecheck for the Rangers. Dennis Potvin up to Bossy, to Trottier. Trottier slowed up by McClanahan, fed it to the right side. Tonelli can't get in around a check. Trottier dumps it back of the goal. That's Laidlaw for the Rangers. Check. Trottier trying to put it out in front. Trottier can't get it to Tonelli. Beck played it right on his own goaltender as he went to clear the puck. Neal alert, and Laidlaw slaps it up the left side off Johnstone's stick. Thomas Johnson turns at center ice. Johnson over the Ranger line, trying to come in around the defense. Centered one out in front. Denny Potvin shoots. That was blocked. Here's Tonelli with a drive. It's blocked. Tonelli into the corner to Butch Goring, and Beck leans into him. Beck falling, has the puck beneath him, and there's no further play. Penalty time against Silk has just expired.
Good defensive work, Jake, by the New York Rangers. The Islanders coming very close, but are unable to get the puck through to Ed Mio. Thomas Johnson in front. There's the shot by Potvin. Stop. A shot by John Tonelli, also stopped. Both of them before the puck gets to Ed Mio. Beck pushes Goring off the puck and falls on it, stopping the play.
What have you found in the rule book?
It says a major or a major and a game misconduct penalty at the discretion of the referee, and that's the key to it, I suppose, shall be imposed on any player who starts fisticuffs. Now, dropping your gloves and stick and throwing a punch, that looks like starting a fight. But anyway, that's as I say, the key to it is discretion.
Thomas Johnson just fired a shot that was blocked. Here's a chance for the Rangers. Burns going back of the net. Put it out in front. Smith cut it off, and there is Morrow. What appeared to be a routine icing. Johnson couldn't get a stick on it. And the Rangers got a good shot at Bill Smith. Now Nystrom fires one high and wide of Mio. Nystrom in after his own rebound is chased to the corner. Gary Burns with it. Burns turning to get away from Goring. Up to Patillo on the left side. With Patillo across the Islander line, but Connor was way in ahead of the play. 5.5 minutes gone here in the second period. We're tied 1-1. Bossy for the Rangers, for the Islanders, excuse me. Patoric for the Rangers. The goals at 12-12, the Islander goal, and then 14:06, the Ranger goal back in the first period.
We should have started keeping track of offsides at the beginning of the game.
We wouldn't have enough paper.
It would have been interesting to see how the tally went against each other as far as the number of offsides by the Islanders and by the Rangers.
Brent and Wayne Sutter along with Clark Gillies up front for the Islanders. Langevin is on defense with Lane. There's Don Maloney centering. A shot just off the target. Patoric trying to come out in front of the Islander goal. Played it to Vadnais, and he couldn't pick it up. Vadnais at center ice. Long pass. Patoric bumped by Lane. The two of them go to the boards together. Patoric played it off Wayne Sutter. Lane unable to send Sutter down the right side. It was a good play, but didn't work. Now Don Maloney banged into the boards by Gord Lane. Lane comes out of the corner being tied up. The puck cleared. Langevin unable to move it out of his own zone. Don Maloney around to Johnstone. Back to Don Maloney. Maloney trying to put it out in front of the net. Comes out himself. Shoots. Smith the save. It's on the doorstep and cleared by Gord Lane. Good defensive play by Lane. He had Patoric all over top of him. Now Langevin starts up the left side. Dave Langevin into center ice. Fired it in over the Ranger line. It hit defenseman Carol Vadnais. Vadnais to Dave Maloney. Maloney, a long pass. McClanahan took his eye off the puck, then ran into Merrick, and back comes Caller. Caller trying to get away from Duguay, who hooked him. There'll be a penalty against Duguay. Islanders go to the power play. A break in the action. The score tied. Islanders won. The Rangers won.
Ron Duguay in the penalty box. A hooking penalty. Rangers get an opportunity. Good work by Gord Lane. Dave Langevin checked by Eddie Johnstone. Rangers putting on some pressure. Behind the net, Patoric knocks down Sutter as Maloney lets the shot go. The puck, watch where it goes, into the open. Gordy Lane, a good move. Again, on Patoric, saves the goal for the New York Islanders.
What a playoff series, not just this one against the Rangers, but the Pittsburgh series as well. Gord Lane has been superb.
One of the best players on the ice for the New York Islanders.
Now Trottier slapped it into the Ranger zone. It came back to McEwen. Into Bossy. To Bob Bourne. Bourne out in front. A shot blocked by Mio. Bourne with the rebound. Comes to the near side. To the blue line to Potvin. Potvin to Bourne. Bob Bourne trying to work his way in. Comes in on the left side now. Chased by Laidlaw. Got away from Beck as well. To the blue line. That's McEwen to Bourne. Back to McEwen. McClanahan checking McEwen. McEwen gave it to Bourne. Winds up the shot. He scores! Bob Bourne, his first playoff goal as he blasts it by Neal on the power play.
Bobby Bourne, they'd moved the puck around. He kept it, he moved it, he got it back, and then decided they had to move it to the net. And it's his shot cleanly in the short side. There's the pass from McEwen back to Bourne. Bourne had given it to him originally. Bourne just lambasted it to the lower left-hand side. Neal pulled away from the goalpost. Let's take a look from behind the net. There's the shot by Bob Bourne in the lower left-hand corner. That's the short side. Goaltenders do not like to give any room on that side, particularly if they're playing the angle right. They should not give any room there. But Bourne, with a slap shot, his first playoff goal, has given the Islanders a 1-0 lead.
Duguay was in the box with that hooking penalty. Bourne for McEwen and Denny Potvin at 7:44. So 2-1 Islanders. Nystrom almost stole the puck in the Ranger zone. And now Merrick's going to get the gate. Rangers Duguay moving it over the line, but as Johnson picks up the puck, play is called, and Wayne Merrick will take yet one more hooking penalty.
A hooking penalty to the Islanders. Wayne Merrick. Right here. Merrick gets the stick on Lennon once, twice, and down he goes. And off goes Wayne Merrick. A power play opportunity for the New York Rangers.
Well, we're right back here tomorrow night, 8:30 on Sports Channel, Game 4 of this series. And again on Wednesday night, Game 5 will come to you from the Nassau Coliseum. Wednesday night we'll be on the air at 7:30 with the Islander preview. Stan Fischler, Ed Westfall, and myself. The Islanders killing one off here as Potvin has dumped it down the ice. Goring and Trottier up front. Now Trottier is being replaced by Billy Carroll. Potvin and Morrow, the Islander defense. At center ice, that's Lennon feeding the puck to Barry Beck. Beck across the line, trying to come in deep, lays it back of the goal to Lennon. It slipped off his stick, and Billy Carroll has dumped it down into the Ranger zone, right to Neal. First man back is Ruotsalainen. Ruotsalainen up to Rogers, into center ice, sneak pass to Lennon. Duguay trails the play, the pass to Beck, and he couldn't hold it. Bob Bourne knocked it away from Beck. Duguay out of the corner centers, off Rogers to Lennon, his shot high and over top of the goal. Bob Bourne backhands it out of there, and again the Rangers have to chase it.
Good clearing shot by Bobby Bourne, taking some pressure off goaltender Billy Smith.
Oh, Potvin just lined up Lennon for a good hip check. In the meantime, Morrow has played it around to Kaller, unable to get it out of there, and ends up back of the net. Smith to Morrow, slaps one around the boards. Kaller tipped it, but not out. Here's Vitorik, checked by Anders Kaller and Bourne, and the puck has been cleared to the Ranger blue line. Dave Maloney took the turn, plays it to the left side, but Johnstone was offside. He was there, appeared to wait, then stepped inside the line before the puck got to him. And Johnstone is upset with linesman Ron Finn.
He clearly, Jakes, put himself across the line ahead of the puck. The puck, when it was passed, was almost over the line. Eddie Johnstone still doesn't believe it. He wants to argue the point a little bit with Ron Finn. Ron Finn is saying, you stepped across the line, I have to call it. If I don't call it, I'm the one that gets in trouble.
You have to admire these linesmen, the heat that Finn is taking from Johnstone right now, and he is deft.
And the other aspect is, Jakes, when players give a linesman a lot of grief about a play like that, the linesman usually does not hold it against them. He goes on and calls the game with no intent after that, where I'm sure there are times when he'd like to, when it's close, call him offside again, even if he's not.
Yeah, just hear what he has to say this time. Huh?
That'll egg him into a misconduct penalty.
Vitorik in the Islander zone. Robbie Vitorik trying to get around a check. Goring knocked it off his stick. Vitorik recovers in deep, goes round behind the net, trying to come out on the short side. Smith cut it off. Billy Smith reached across with the goal stick. Now again, it comes back to the blue line. Dave Maloney's shot is high. Teams are at 6 aside. It's in the mesh at the back of the net. Face-off comes outside the blue line, but the Islanders, more importantly, killed off the penalty against Wayne Merrick.
Some pressure by the New York Rangers. Close call as Patoric rounded the net. Smith was on one side. Patoric came out the other, but he was checked by an Islander defenseman before he could get the shot away. 2-2 now, Nordiques and the Bruins.
Really?
Second period, Stasny for the Nordiques. I don't know who has the other one, but Middleton and O'Connell for the Bruins.
Here it is 2-1 Islanders. Goals by Mike Bossy and Bob Bourne. And for the Rangers, Robbie Patoric. Mark Gillies, Brian Trottier, and Mike Bossy, the forward line. And again, the Rangers moved into the Islanders' zone offside.
The other game, 3-1, Chicago in the first period over St. Louis. It's the end of the first period, excuse me, and it's still 3-1.
The way this game is going with all the whistles, offsides, and icings, we're going to have to pay that extra quarter to get home when we hit the tunnel tonight.
Oh, that's right. Was it after midnight?
It may be at this rate. Can you report it?
No.
All right. Smith just scooped up a long shot.
I noticed when you drove in tonight, you took the 59th Street Bridge.
Oh, now, wait a minute. There goes the expense account again.
I was just going to say, be careful how you make out your expenses. I just ruined $1 for you.
It's not the first time. And knowing you, it won't be the last. As we look at Al Arbor, Clark Gillies coming over to the bench. Over is Trottier out to take this face-off. Rangers got the draw. Ruotsalainen shot wide on the glove side, and Bossy fires it ahead to Bob Bourne. Bourne put it out into the center ice area. Ruotsalainen's clearing attempt cut off. Bossy over to Morrow. Eddie Morrow shot it in, but right to Ruotsalainen. Ruotsalainen to Allison, now to Beck. He couldn't get a stick on it. It's chased by Bossy. Harry Beck around to Ruotsalainen. Now to Silk. Dave Silk on the right side. Trottier took it away from him. Gives it to Thomas Johnson. Johnson over to Morrow. Allison into forecheck as Morrow fed the pass to Bossy. Now to Gillies at center ice. Mark Gillies crosses the Ranger line. Right side to Bossy. Bossy had trouble getting around McClanahan. Gave it to Trottier back of the goal. Ryan Trottier goes to the corner. Tried to put it out in front as well, and that was cleared down the ice. It's rolling on edge, wide of the Islander net, and will be called for icing. A break in the action, 8:37 left in the second period. And the score, New York Islanders 2, New York Rangers 1.
In Atlantic City, there are 8 hotel casinos. And then there's the Golden Nugget. There is no hotel casino in the world like the Golden Nugget in Atlantic City. You really have to see it to believe it.
Just to finish off, Jakes, the defenseman shooting. In the first game, the Islanders had 17 shots to the Rangers 6. This is just defenseman shooting. In the second game, it was even at 9 apiece. Obviously, the Rangers did not want the Islanders shooting like they had in the first game.
You got to cover those points, especially when you've got shooters like McEwen, Cawthon, Thomas Johnson with a good shot from the point as well.
Gordy Lane has been shooting well from the point.
And how about the goal from center ice by Dave Langevin?
He'll talk about that for a career and then some.
I don't blame him. John Tonelli down the left side, cutting to the right, over the Ranger line, trying to come in around the defense, slipped away from Laidlaw. There's Berwick with it. Berwick back to the net, put it out in front. Nystrom was covered, then shot one wide. Berwick centers, Tonelli shot a sliding save by Meehl. It's loose in front, Berwick turns, Meehl the save off Wayne Berwick. Tonelli sets up Nystrom back in the goal. He is checked. Now Burns bumped off the puck by Merrick. Nystrom unable to get it out in front to Tonelli, and here's Fatio starting out. Nick Fatio. Back and forth with Dory. Fatio across the line. Long shots, fifth the glove save, and he'll hold on for a faceoff. Lane and Fatio exchange some words. There's Nystrom in as well.
The feistiness remains in the game, and it remains the right way. They're skating, they're shooting, they're hitting. They're challenging each other at every point on the ice. The score, Islanders 2, Rangers 1. 7 minutes and 43 seconds remaining here in the second period. Rangers breaking out of their own end. Here's the action, though, by the Islanders. Prior to that, there's a shot. What a save by Meehl. John Tonelli spears the puck going down. Wayne Merrick, another shot, another good save by Eddie Mio as he does his acrobatics in the New York Rangers net.
Trache on the face-off to the right of the Islander net. Got it away from Rogers this time, and it's picked up by McEwen. Trache, Gillies, and Wayne Sutter moving out into center ice. Trache is replaced now by Brent Sutter. Gillies into forecheck. The Rangers moving around to the right side. Wayne Sutter came over but couldn't get a stick on it. Now Duguay feeds it to Ruotsalainen into the Islander zone. Ruotsalainen trying to cut in. Smith knocked it off his stick. A pile up in the goal mouth. The puck comes outside the Islander line. Smith shaken up a little, but he's all right. In the meantime, Dave Maloney back in his own territory. Waiting behind the net. Dave Maloney to this right wing side. Vadnais to Duguay. Knocked away from him by Caller to Brent Sutter. Back to Mike McEwen, who comes over the center ice stripe. Over the Ranger line. Got through the defense. A bit of a stutter step. The puck ends up back in the goal. Vadnais chased to the corner by Caller. Vadnais to Duguay. He was bumped solidly by Dwayne Sutter. Now here's Caller putting it out in front. Cleared. Langevin from the blue line. Offside. The call. Langevin got a stick on it. Got a shot away, but the puck had come out over the line. A break in the action. The score, New York Islanders 2, New York Rangers 1. Puck has been cleared to center ice and back into the Rangers zone following the face-off just a moment ago. Barry Beck to Ruotsalainen, to Beck, who missed the pass, and it was right in the skates of Dave Newell, the referee. Here's Ruotsalainen on the right side. Long pass to Fatorik. Fatorik turns, shoots it into the Islanders zone. Smith cuts it off for Thomas Janssen, around to Caller. It was knocked away from him, picked up by Trache. Dumps it into center, away from Beck. That's Bossy coming in on the right side. Beck appeared to have him lined up. Bossy let Beck pay it. Trache now in the corner. Out in front, there's Caller, and off his stick right to Mio. Made a good sliding save. Bossy was knocked down deep in the Ranger zone as we watch Fatorik. Shot grab by Bill Smith. Ruotsalainen got it away. Didn't have much on it by the time he took the shot. In the meantime, Johnstone has been challenged by Trache. Nothing develops there, and they'll head for a player change.
Rangers break out. Two of the Islanders are caught. Bossy and Andy Caller as the Rangers come pouring in. Fatorik drops the puck. A shot is blocked. Boom. Trache. Good heavy check. As the Rangers bring it in. What happened down the other end, Bossy gets knocked down, and Andy Caller gets upset by Eddie Johnstone. So you have two Islanders on the ice inside the Rangers' blue line as the Rangers break away.
Trache on the draw, got it away from Burns to Poffan. Denny Poffan is upended at the side of his own goal. Play goes on. Burns from back of the net. Into the corner, trying to make the play. Gary Burns to Nick Fatio. Lane bumps him. Fatio around to Connor, kicked it out in front, cleared aside by Smith. There's Denny Poffan to Nystrom. He dumps it down into the Ranger zone. Dory chasing it. Wayne Merrick moves into forecheck. Dory got the puck to Connor, turned to get away from Nystrom. Now Connor is ridden off the play by Merrick, and here comes Tonelli, 2-on-1 with Nystrom. Dory back, Tonelli to Nystrom, shoots, great save by Meal. Dazzling stop as Eddie Meal slid to his left and gets up slowly. Lane, in the meantime, took the puck away from Fatio at the Islander zone, gave it to Nystrom. Now to Merrick. Merrick dumps one into the Ranger zone. Laidlaw back, chased around behind his own goal, cut it up the right side. Cam Connor across the Islander line. Connor a shot, blocked by Langevin, and he pokes the rebound out over the line. Shot back in offside. Nystrom in a bit of a war. Bang, bang. He and Burns, a couple of bodies flying back and forth. A break in the action. The score, New York Islanders 2, New York Rangers 1.
It's retained. Mio makes the save of the game. Bobby Nystrom, John Tonelli teeing off here, a 2-on-1 break. Tonelli waiting, makes the play across. Nystrom makes the shot at the net. What a stop by Mio, number 33. Dore is the only Ranger back as Mio makes a fine save off Bob Nystrom.
Now Brent Sutter, Dwayne Sutter, and Clark Gillies out on the ice for the Islanders with Langevin and McEwen on defense. The Rangers have just dumped one into the Islanders' zone. McEwen got to it ahead of Gary Burns, or Allison, excuse me, and that'll be an icing call against the Rangers. 4:28 remaining in period number 2.
Good hockey game, Jiggs. Both teams giving it all. It's not as wide open as what some people would like to see. The reason it's not wide open, they have a great respect for each other, both of these teams. They do not want to give any open ice, particularly the Islanders, to the Rangers. They have the speed, and they love that open ice. They like to get going, and they move the puck much better when the Islanders do not check them as closely, but the Islanders are checking closely. So we are having a lot of stoppages of play.
Now Brent Sutter moves in on the draw against Allison. Allison got it back for Vadnais. Stolen, put right out in front by Brent Sutter, but cleared aside. Allison up the left side. This is McClanahan trying to come in around McEwen. They went to the boards together. Brent Sutter got it to McEwen, around to Gillies on left wing. Gillies to Langevin, ahead for Brent Sutter, being bothered from behind by McClanahan, and then checked at the Ranger line, and Dwayne Sutter got a stick on it, putting the Islanders offside.
See the neat little play the Islanders used coming out of their own end, Jigs. Clark Gillies, the puck is on the boards, coming around through the corner very quickly. Dave Langevin, who's talking to him now, it's a set-up play. If Langevin can get close to him, Gillies gets a yell from Langevin. He just kind of backhands the puck. He doesn't try to control it and move forward. He just moves it back to Dave Langevin. Langevin's in a much better position, looking straight up the ice to make a pass than Gillies, looking down and along the boards, waiting for the puck to come to him.
Now as play gets underway, the Rangers try to come out of their own zone. The pass to Duguay failed to click. Langevin back, dumps it into center ice, and it's picked up by Vadnais. Carol Vadnais shot it into the Islanders' zone, right to Langevin, now to Dwayne Sutter. His pass intended for Carroll was broken up. The checking of Dwayne Sutter forced Dave Maloney back a little deeper. Now Vadnais to Duguay, comes in on the left side, shoots Smith, the pad save. Duguay held at the line, they rolled and then broke in cleanly, only to be beaten by Smitty. And now the Rangers are offside. The first one was close. This one close as well, but called by linesman Randy Mitten.
Lennonen along the boards is upset. It gets players upset to continually be offside. They'll finally get mad at each other. That's not good for the team. But here's Duguay on a breakaway. In pursuit, Langevin. Behind him, McEwen. What a save by Billy Smith, standing up, challenging Ron Duguay. He knew with Langevin coming in from the left side that Duguay could not cut in front of him. Had to shoot it. Smith knew that, so he was well out of the net, cutting down the angle.
Patching up the ice just inside the Islander blue line. 3:29 remaining in the second period.
Looks like he's got a sore hand and he's putting ice on it, but actually what he's doing, he has snow in the hole and his hand melts it just enough to give it a little glaze, so when it freezes, it's a nice little smooth surface for the players. Isn't that nice of the linesman, Ron Finn?
Played that well, too. Bossy to Trache, backhands it off the boards, and Ruotsalainen chases it. Ruotsalainen into the middle. That's Vittorik, bumped by Trache, but Johnstone is there. Trache stepped into Ruotsalainen, overcame Bourne as well. Now Barry Beck ahead to Vittorik, who couldn't pick up the pass. Bothan ahead to Bossy, who knocked it out of the air, fed it to the left wing to Bourne. Bourne across the line to Trache, rifles one just wide of the net. Board lane into the corner, intended for Bossy, hooked it out in front. Ruotsalainen for the Rangers, forcing the Islanders back to their own blue line. Ryan Trache, the pass for Bourne, ahead to Bossy, it went behind him. And Ruotsalainen feeds it up the middle. That's Johnstone in on left wing, back to Don Maloney, who shot one way wide of the net. Vittorik puts it out in front, but right to Lane. Now to Bossy. To Trache, cuts in over the line. The pass to Tonelli on his off wing. Tonelli centers, off the stick of Beal. Big rebound, and the Rangers come out 2-on-2. Vittorik to Don Maloney. Morrow and Janssen back. Maloney to Vittorik in the corner. Out in front, right to John Tonelli. Tonelli tried to flip it out. It hit Dory. Andre Dory dumps it in deep. Going back is Thomas Janssen. A little more than 2 minutes to play in the second period. Janssen up the right side. The pass out of the reach of Bossy. Now Bossy pokes it away from Laidlaw, and that sends Dory deep in the Ranger zone. Tonelli into forecheck, knocked Dory off the puck for a moment. Silk around behind his own goal. Laidlaw can't get there in time. Goring got it away from Laidlaw. Tonelli back in the net, put it out in front, and Mio pounces on top of it. Goring cutting through in front, but Mio made sure the puck was not loose.
Good hustle by the Islanders this time, Jigs. Butch Goring, Bob Nystrom, John Tonelli. They moved the puck well. Tonelli from behind the net trying to get it to Goring. Mio got just enough of it.
Now 1:45 remaining in the second period.
16-13, the accumulated shots so far in the hockey game. The Islanders 16, the Rangers 13.
They were 6-6 at the end of the first period, so you boil that down. And now they've just added another one for the Islanders, so it means that they have had 11 shots in this period, and the Rangers 7. Only one goal, and not a power play goal by Bob Bourne back at 7:44. Lane and Johnson on the Islander defense. Goring, Tonelli, and Nystrom up front. This is Newgame moving in. A shot wide on the glove side of Smith. It's loose at the back of the net, picked off by Lane. John Tonelli. Tonelli to Goring, across the Ranger line, played it in on left wing. Dory and Tonelli go after it. Tonelli trying to kick it back in the net, got it to Goring. Out in front, here's Nystrom to the blue line for Lane. Lane shot through a screen, was wide. Goring knocked down back of the net. The puck they ruled is in the mesh, and play has been called. Some argument with referee Dave Newell as to where the face-off will take place. It appears it'll be in the circle to the left of goaltender Ed Meal.
The argument, Jakes, will be about the fact the puck landed on the back of the net. There is a time that the players are allowed to try and get it off. Mio arguing with Ron Finn. It seems that a lot of the Rangers have argued with Ron Finn tonight, but they are not going to change the decision. Islanders shot the puck in. It ended up on the back of the net. If a Ranger holds the puck on the back of the net, the face-off stays deep in Ranger territory. Or if it had touched a Ranger on the way in, or the goaltender, who is also a Ranger, in this case Mio, then of course the responsibility of the puck being on the back of the net belongs to the Rangers.
They seem to feel the Islanders were the last to have touched it, but they're not going to change the opinion of referee Dave Newell or linesman Ron Finn.
It could very well be that the Islanders were last to touch it, but the Rangers held it on the back of the net. I'm not saying they did, but if they did do that, or they didn't try to get it off the back of the net, then of course the face-off stays where it is.
Now it comes back on the draw. Lane with a shot, blocked in front. Sutter with a drive and a good save by Mio. The rebound is cleared loose, and out they come 2-on-1. Fatorik working on Lane. A shot, Gordy blocked it all the way, and Potvin picks it up and starts back.
Fine move by Gord Lane on Fatorik.
Potvin across the line, trying to get in around Vadnais. Potvin shoveled it in front. It was broken up by Vadnais. Vadnais at center ice. Over the Islander line, chased wide by Lane. Vadnais trying to go back to the net. He's checked on the boards. Don Maloney is bumped by Brent Sutter. Lane all over top of Vadnais. Here's Fatorik with a backhander that went high and over the net. Gillies dumps it into center ice. Johnstone back for the Rangers. Flipped it over to Fatorik.
Gordy Lane, what he was trying to do, Jakes, is hold Vadnais in along the net. So the Islanders, if they break loose, there would only be one defender for the Rangers.
Now the Rangers come in over the line. Mitsulainen right in, or Lennon rather, and it hit Smith and ended up underneath Gord Lane. And the Rangers are really upset. They have had some chances here in the last minute. But Lane has been a ratio at the bridge defensively along with Bill Smith.
The Rangers break across the line again. McClanahan, he's smooth, he skates well. There's the play. Lane gets enough of him to knock him off the puck. Smith stops the puck. Lane and Smith go for the puck. The fans feel it's a delay in the game. They feel Gord Lane stopped the play. It's a penalty, but none is forthcoming. 10 seconds remaining in the second period.
The Ranger captain, Barry Beck.
24-year-old Barry Beck. He's from Vancouver, British Columbia.
Well, that must have been quite a New Westminster Bruins team. He and a lot of big guys who have played in the National Hockey League. Ruotsalainen fires one around behind the Islander goal. Beck chasing it, put it out in front off the skate of Langevin, and McEwen cleared it to the corner. There's the buzzer ending the second period. The only goal scored by the New York Islanders. And at the end of 2 periods, our score, the Islanders 2, the Rangers 1. We'll be back with a recap following this message.
13, the Rangers 8.
Ed Westfall back at Madison Square Garden.
I'd be even too far ahead.
Gator Stastny for Quebec. O'Connell and Middleton for the Bruins. It is now 4-2, Chicago leading St. Louis. Patterson has scored for Chicago. Joey Mullen for the Blues. Now I'm told it is 5-2. We have 4 of the goals for Chicago, but the Blackhawks are up 5-2.
Did you hear the opening music, Jigs, as the teams came out onto the ice for the start of the third period? It's a theme song they use in Colorado. Standing behind me. Whoops, watch out.
Look out. 2-2 tie.
How quickly they do it. I have to finish what I started to say. Craig Patrick, the general manager of the New York Rangers, is right here. I said, Craig, what's that music? Colorado. He says that's a message for them. And I guess they got the message because the New York Rangers have tied the score in the opening minute, in the opening 20 seconds of the third period. There's the shot that did the trick.
Rio Ruotsalainen.
Ruotsalainen in the lower right-hand corner has tied the score. Was that a 19 seconds into the third period? It's tied at 2 apiece.
Ruotsalainen's third goal of the playoff series. He got the one that beat the Islanders in game 1. Now the New York Islanders in the Rangers zone, and Bourne was checked on the boards. There's Ruotsalainen working his way to center ice. Ahead to Duguay and off his stick. Smith clears it aside for Denny Potvin. Up to Trottier. Trottier to Bossy. It ended up in the skates on this left side. Lennon over the Islander line. He faked the shot, comes in deeper, directed it towards Smith, but it was cut off by Potvin. Rogers got the only assist on the goal by Ruotsalainen. Art Gillies turning at the Islander line over to Denny Potvin. Potvin, right side to Dwayne Sutter. Sutter checked at the blue line. Down the left side comes Dave Maloney to Fatorik. Fatorik fakes the shot in, but can't get around Langevin. Dwayne Sutter cleared it to the blue line. His brother Brent waltzed his man around a little, and the puck is right on the line. They rolled, the Rangers held it in. Don Maloney back to the blue line. Dave Maloney over to Vadnais. Vadnais centers, one of us kicked aside by Smith. Comes out in front again. Cleared by McEwen to Dwayne Sutter, but out of his reach. All the way into the Rangers zone, and this is called for icing. The Rangers come out of the chute very quickly here at the start of the third period. A break in the action with the score tied. Islanders 2, the Rangers 2.
Give it to Patillo.
Burns back to Laidlaw to the far side. Dory up the middle. Here's Burns into the Islanders zone. Gary Burns with a shot right on target. Smith had to be quick to make the save. It was right in the pad.
A great start for the Rangers, Jake. 19 seconds into the period. Ruotsalainen from Rogers ties the score at 2. It's like finishing a period with a goal. There's the shot by Gary Burns. It's low, it's on the net, forcing Billy Smith to get down low and make the save, and he hung on to stop the play. That's encouraging for the Rangers, and of course discouraging for the New York Islanders. Trottier off the face-off, right on Billy Smith.
There's Nystrom around to Janssen. He and Morrow start out together. Janssen at the center ice stripe, cuts to the right over the Ranger line, right up the middle, in deep, and his shot went over the net. It was deflected at the last second. Now Janssen centers, and that's cleared to the blue line. Held in by Morrow. Morrow's shot. Neal the save, and Goring panned on the rebound as he came right up the middle. John
Two
Tonelli.
fine moves, Jigs, by number 2 Laidlaw of the Rangers. Kept the Islanders from getting a goal.
Now Laidlaw plays it up the left wing. Patillo is offside at center ice. 2 minutes and 45 seconds gone in the third period, but we're tied. Ruotsalainen from Rogers at the 19-second mark. Headlocked at 2.
Thomas Johnson, length of the rink rush. He took the puck from his own end all the way in from within 15 feet of goaltender Eddie Mio. He let the shot go, but Laidlaw, who was beaten originally, got back a good second effort by Laidlaw to tip the puck as Thomas Johnson let it go.
Now Trottier centers for Bourne and Bossy as we look at Langevin. He's on the left defense. McEwen is on the right side, as you see. The puck is dumped out into center ice. McEwen hustling after it. That's McClanahan moving in for the Rangers. McEwen back quickly over the Ranger line, but Bourne was ahead of the move on the left side.
Islanders want to get right back after the Rangers. They're bringing the puck in and trying to press. 20 shots now for the New York Islanders, 17 for the Rangers.
Translated into this period, it is 3-1 favor of the Rangers. McEwen slapping it around the boards. It got away from Neal. Ruotsalainen tipped it to the line where it hit Bob Bourne. He and Allison tied it up, then it came loose. Bossy put it back into the pileup. Out on the right side, Silk unable to set up McClanahan. McEwen fanned on his clearing attempt. Here's Allison. McClanahan heads for the net. Allison comes in, shoots, he scores! Allison slipped right around the Islander defense to give the Rangers the lead for the first time.
Mistakes by the Islanders have given the New York Rangers a 3-2 lead. Happiness in Ranger country. Here's the first mistake right here. Mike McEwen missed the puck. He was backing up. The puck went away from him. And here come the Rangers. Allison. Now watch what Dave Langevin takes himself out of the play. Billy Smith with his weight on the left side. Can't get back to the right side where the shot went from Allison. And Allison has given the Rangers a 3-2 lead, and Pandemonium is breaking out here in Madison Square Garden.
Allison's first playoff goal at 3:19. As you looked at it again, there he is, the young redhead.
A pretty goal. Fine maneuvering by Allison, but both Islander defensemen made a mistake on the play, and Allison took advantage.
Now Poffan checked as he got to the Ranger line. The puck lays loose for a moment. Lennon put it right on the stick of Brent Sutter. To Gillies. Gillies at the line was checked. Comes back to knock Rogers off the puck. And it's controlled by Lennon. Lennon dumps it into the Islander zone. Lane chasing it with Duguay. They bump together and Poffan picks it up. Danny Poffan up the middle off the skates of Brent Sutter. Held in. Badney's shot. Smith got a piece of it. It comes to the right side for Dwayne Sutter. Dwayne Sutter to Brent Sutter. Lost it at the Ranger line. Out in center ice, Duguay and Poffan bumped together, and Poffan was knocked down. Mark Gillies backhands it into the Ranger zone. 3-2 New York Rangers. They open quickly in this third period. Lennon spun away from Tonelli and flips it high in the air, end over end into the Islander zone, but offside. A break in the action. The score, New York Rangers 3, New York Islanders 2.
We're Eastern, America's favorite way to fly.
For 3 years now, more passengers have flown Eastern than any other airline in the free world. If you're flying Eastern, we thank you. If you haven't flown Eastern recently, give us a try. We'll show you we really do earn our wings every day.
We're Eastern, America's favorite way to fly. Come fly with Eastern.
Still more than 15 minutes to play in regulation time as Fatio backhands one in front of the Islander goal. Goring picks it up on the left wing, starts out with Nystrom and John Tonelli. Goring into center ice. Long shot blocked by Meal, just fed it out of the reach of Tonelli, and Cam Connor dumps it into center ice. Here's Nick Fatio giving it to Gary Burns. A shot wide of Smith on the glove side. Burns really pulled the trigger on that one. Islanders in the middle of the change as Andre Dory handed it right to Gillies. Art Gillies unable to slip around to check. Now here's Merrick from the blue line. His shot deflected. Neal leads it back to the net. Laidlaw plays it up the middle. Burns gave it to Don Maloney, who cuts to the right. Rangers completing their player change. The pass went to Beckett's long shot. That bounced off McEwen. Here's Fatorik with the rebound. Unable to center as it hit Langevin. Fatorik pokes it into the corner. It's knocked away from Don Maloney, and McEwen starts out. Mike McEwen into center ice. Left side to Gillies, over the Ranger line, back to McEwen, and he couldn't take the pass. He couldn't get the stick on it, tried to get a skate on it, That didn't work. Now the puck is dumped right back into the Rangers zone. Eddie Johnstone parks back of his own goal. Starts out on the right side. Long pass to Don Maloney. Rink wide, off the boards. Vitorik moved in. Potvin cleared it, but right into the Islander bench. There's a break in the action. Little less than 14 minutes to play. The score, New York Rangers 3, New York Islanders 2.
The 1980 Winter Olympics. Hockey team captain Mike Ruzioni helped clinch the gold for the U.S.
I'm Mike Ruzioni, the artist. Budweiser asked me to paint with these to help raise funds for America's Olympic athletes. Now you can own my painting and help our athletes train for 84. After all, there are a lot of Picassos. There's only one, Ruzioni.
Call 1-800-325-1488 for more information.
Just over 6 minutes played here in the third period, Jigs. The teams have opened up some. They're skating well, a little more open ice skating than we've seen in the first two periods.
Now we watch as Gord Lane plays it up the left side at center ice for Bourne. Bourne over the line, Trottier trailing, took the pass from Bourne, but couldn't get back in the Ranger net. He and Allison collided heavily. The puck comes to Lane, and off his stick at the blue line. Lane gets it over to Potvin. Potvin fires it around the boards. It got away from Neal. That's Brian Trottier to Bourne, and he fired it just wide. Comes back to Potvin. From the blue line, it was tipped by Bossy and wide of the net. Off the boards, here's McClanahan for the Rangers. Bob McClanahan put it into center ice. Rutsalainen across the center ice stripe, waiting for his teammates to complete some changes. Dropped it back. Rogers in each shift, but couldn't get around Lane. 40 Lane over the blue line. Lane chased to the corner, knocked down. The puck loose momentarily, and here's Rogers coming out on the left side. Mike Rogers into center ice, over the Islander line, dropped it to Lennon and moves in, but couldn't pull the trigger. Back they come. This is Wayne Sutter on the right side, checked at the Ranger defense, a break for the Rangers. Rogers on left wing, over the Islander line. Duguay picks up the puck, gave it to Lennon, and he shoots. Smith, the glove save. Lennon went to the top corner of the net. Rogers rather, and it was Smith coming up with the glove hand to rob him.
Beautiful save by Billy Smith. The Islanders get caught again. Lane gets caught up the ice. Duguay dropped. There's the shot by Lennon in top left corner, and Billy Smith has got it, and he hangs on. Quick hands by Smith. Rogers to Duguay to Lennon, and here's the shot from point-blank range. It's on the net for the top left corner, and Billy Smith has pulled it out of the air, saving the Islanders from falling further behind. Good stop by Smith off Lennon. The Rangers taking over the play. They're turning on the speed.
They're out shooting the Islanders 8-1 through the first 7.5 minutes of this third period.
The opening goal, 19 seconds by Rutsalainen, has set the Islanders back some.
Now Trottier wins the face-off from Burns, and Morrow dumps it around to Goring. Butch Goring trying to flip it out of there. It hit Dory. Now Goring works it to the right side. Morrow moves up. Patillo poked it back in over the Islander line on a delayed offside. Nystrom to Janssen. Janssen carries it into center ice. From the Ranger line, his shot went off Dory, and Dory chased Janssen into the corner. In the meantime, Nystrom back of the net, worked it around to the corner. Butch Goring unable to make the play, and Patillo fires it up into the center ice zone. That's Morrow with it. Morrow off the boards. The Rangers have to go back. Laidlaw to Patillo on this left side. Nick Patillo, long pass cut off by Thomas Janssen. Janssen played it into the skates of Laidlaw at the Ranger line, and he backhands it into the New York Ranger bench. Still with only one shot on Neal, and therein lies the story. You've got to pressure the Rangers, and they're not doing it at the moment.
They've got to regroup. They can't lose their composure, Jig. That's what the Rangers want to do. They want to force the Islanders to more mistakes. They have done a good job so far here in the third period. It was mistakes that got Rutsalainen his opening goal at 19 seconds, and Allison forcing two mistakes on the Islander defense. McEwen and Langevin got the second goal at 3:19.
Bossy back to Langevin, a shot from the point, blocked, the rebound, they score! Bourne off balance, knocked it out of the air, and we're tied at 3.
Rebound, Eddie Mio making his second stop of the third period. And Bourne, as he's being checked, a second effort, puts the puck in behind. Let's look. Here's the shot. Langevin, it's blocked in front. I think it hit either Brian Trottier or Barry Beck. And you see with Eddie Johnstone hanging on, Bobby Bourne knocking the puck by the sprawling Ed Mio. Here's the action, blocked in front. There's the shot by Bourne. It's flipping. It just makes it to the net, and the score is tied at 3 apiece.
8:26, the time of the goal. Bourne's second of this game. Here's Beck deep in the Islanders' zone, unable to clear it around. It comes to Bossy. Mike Bossy takes his time, then moves it up the right wing for Trottier. Trottier knocked down by Don Maloney, and Ruotsalainen starts out. Langevin and Bossy got assists on the goal by Bob Bourne to tie it at 3. And Bossy sends Brent Sutter into the Rangers zone along with Gillies. Brent Sutter's shot, good save by Meal. There's Gillies, a backhander, and that hit the side of the net. Brent Sutter out to Gillies to the blue line to Poffan. Poffan into the corner. Brent Sutter tied up by Beck. Wayne Sutter sets up Gillies. He was on the backhand and couldn't shoot it. Now Beck takes Brent Sutter out. Here's Wayne Sutter out in front. Mio the save. The rebound. Gillies a shot. Dazzling stop by Mio. It's on the mesh at the back of the net, and there's no further play. The Rangers in trouble, but Mio bailed them out. A break in the action. The score tied. Islanders 3, the Rangers 3.
In Atlantic City, there are 8 hotel casinos. And then there's the Golden Nugget. There is no hotel casino in the world like the Golden Nugget in Atlantic City. You really have to see it to believe it.
Mio, he's won 3 and lost 1 coming in to tonight's game. What action around Eddie Mio as the Islanders press to regain their lead. Shot by Sutter, rebound. Gillies right there, saved by Mio. And then Gillies' shot is deflected as he takes a hit from Don Maloney. The Islanders coming close again.
Billy Carroll wins the faceoff to Potvin. A weak shot as Silk was rushing him. And it comes out into center ice for Lane. Gord Lane up the boards into the Ranger zone, but it's being called back on an offside. We have 10 minutes and 16 seconds remaining in regulation time. Game 4 in this series tomorrow night here at Madison Square Garden as we look at Gord Lane. You see the cut below his right eye. That was suffered in the first game of this Ranger series. Skate. Wayne Sutter, I believe it was, who went over top of his teammate.
Tried to jump to avoid him, but did not get high enough. His skate cut the right cheek of Gord Lane.
Now a break for the Rangers after Poffan had fallen. McClanahan's shot was blocked by Lane. Picked up by Gillies, who starts out with Billy Carroll. The pass instead to the right wing, and Dwayne Sutter is offside. Over 2 lines. So they'll bring it back into the New York Islanders zone. Islanders now out shooting the Rangers 24-22.
Eight to 5.
In this period, it's 8-5 Rangers.
In this period. Yes. My arithmetic isn't that fast. Reading and writing, okay. Arithmetic, no. Nick Patillo out again.
Reading and writing and arithmetic. Let it go top to the tune of the Hickory stick. Break for the Islanders after they pick up an errant Ranger pass. Then Patillo hooks Bob Nystrom, and the New York Rangers will be shorthanded. Patillo, a hooking penalty and a bad penalty if you're a Ranger fan. A break in the action, the score tied. Islanders 3, the Rangers 3.
Penalty here is 2 minutes.
Showtime Pay TV is total entertainment. 25 hours a day, and you're going to need every minute of it. Packed with blockbuster movies, Broadway shows, entertainment specials, late-night features, outrageous comedy, and no commercials. Showtime, we're tuned into you 25 hours a day, 8 days a week.
In this game, with Nick Patillo in the penalty box, the Islanders are 1 for 3 in this game. Bob Bourne scored a power play goal. They are 3 for 12 in the series, the Ranger series.
Bossy, Trottier, and Bourne up front. Duguay and Rogers killing it off for the Rangers. It came back to the blue line, and Potvin got it to McEwen, but it went off his stick and into center ice. McEwen to Bourne to Trottier, who was too well covered. This is McEwen backing into the Islanders zone, up to Bob Bourne. Bourne cuts to the left side, gave it to McEwen. McEwen over the Ranger line, slowed up a little, played it through to the far side. That's Bossy to Potvin, into the corner to Bossy. Bossy trying to get away from Laidlaw. Bossy shovels it back to McEwen. McEwen a shot, that went wide. Potvin from the left point, into the corner and off Trottier's stick. Laidlaw picks it up. Worked it off the boards. Trottier and Rogers there. Trottier kicked it loose, and Duguay dumps it to center.
Potvin doing a good job taking Duguay, take his body so he doesn't get around him to the loose puck.
Now McEwen gave it to Gillies at center ice, to Bossy on right wing. Back to McEwen. Got in over the Ranger line, shot it away from Vadnais. Gillies comes in on the right side, tied up the man. There's Bossy with the puck to McEwen. Mike McEwen shooting. Gillies tipped it. It's underneath Mio. Eddie Mio, a spectacular save off Clark Gillies. It worked perfectly for the Islanders, only it worked better for the goaltender.
Good stop by Mio, a deflected shot. There's Mike McEwen as he winds up. Look at Gillies hustle in from this side. Here comes the shot. Gillies tips it, and Mio, believe it or not, makes the save. He was down on the ice, but he managed to get his legs on it and close them, stopping the play. Close call, but Mio makes another save, this time off Clark Gillies. A deflected shot, tough shot to make a stop on. Mio was making the save on the original shot by Mike McEwen. Gillies tipped it, changed the direction. Goaltenders are fearful of shots like that.
Now Gillies gets it back to Potvin at the right point. His shot hit Vittori, can outcome the Rangers. Dave Maloney circles at center ice to kill off some time before giving it to Vittori. 33 seconds left in the Islander power play. Brent Sutter to Dwayne Sutter. Dwayne Sutter is shot, rippled the side of the net to the left of Mio. Now Janssen put it in the corner, and it's cleared out of there by Vadnais. Down into the Islander zone. 20 seconds left in Patillo's penalty. We're tied 3-3 as Dwayne Sutter carries it to the blue line. Got away from Eddie Johnstone. Dumps it in around Dave Maloney, and it's picked up by Vadnais. Brent Sutter on top of him quickly. Dwayne Sutter in as well. All three Islanders back at the goal line. It comes out in front. Brent Sutter to Tonelli. A backhand shot went wide. It's underneath Dave Maloney and pried loose. Teams at 6 aside. Islanders put it out in front. Janssen slips in deep. Goes round behind the net. Out in front. A scramble. The puck on the doorstep and cleared wide. Brent Sutter just missed the corner of the net. Now play is called, and we'll have some penalties.
Nick Patillo is going to get another penalty, and also Thomas Johnson of the New York Islanders. They're both being waived by referee Dave Newell. A break in the action. The score, the Islanders 3, the Rangers 3.
Why strain your back removing harmful thatch? The inexpensive Thatcherizer can loosen thatch, and your snapper mower can bag it in one easy step. Thatcherizers fit snapper self-propelled walk mowers and riders. Get a Thatcherizer, only at a snapper dealer.
Penalties, Patillo and Thomas Johnson. Thomas for slashing, Nick Patillo for cross-checking at 12:38. What a period. Lots of action, skating, hitting. If you love hockey, you've got to love a hockey game like this. Little strategies, little individual duels going on the ice. Some loose defensive work, some great goaltending.
9-3 as we watch Duguay start out for the Rangers. The puck knocked off his stick. Beck got it right back to him. Into the Islander zone. He's chased behind the net, put it out in front, and it was cut off by Lane. Lord Lane pulls it away from Rogers, gives it to Morrow. Morrow checked by Duguay. Rogers unable to pick it up. It was bouncing. Loring and Rogers tie up one another. Here's Barry Beck with a shot, and it goes into the crowd.
Islanders guilty of not moving the puck quick enough inside their own blue line. Gord Lane, again, another fine defensive move as he covers up for Ken Morrow.
Getting ready for a face-off inside the Islanders zone. I'm sure you're aware that Game 4 is right here at Madison Square Garden. I just remind you that we'll have it for you beginning at 8 o'clock, 8:30, tomorrow night. Move back to the Nassau Coliseum on Wednesday night. And that game beginning at 7:30 with the pregame show, the drop of the puck at 5 after 8. Here's Ruotsalainen barreling into the Islanders zone. Put it off to the side of the net. Comes to the corner. Langevin kicks it around to McEwen. Up the right side. Keller couldn't get a stick on it. Back of the net, that's Bob Bourne. Pulls it away from McClanahan. Fed it back to McEwen. Mike McEwen out in front of the net. Up to Bob Bourne. He has 2 of the 3 Islander goals tonight. Bourne at the Ranger line. It came off his stick. Fatorik chases it. Robbie Fatorik goes back of the net. Turn to get away from Langevin. Fatorik centers it. McClanahan off the left side. Banned on his shot. McEwen takes him to the boards. Fatorik picked up the puck. Back to the blue line to Laidlaw. Around the boards. Beck in deep. Langevin ties him up. Here's Fatorik trying to come out in front. Smith knocked it off his stick. Robbie Fatorik to the blue line to McClanahan. He's shooting. Smith the glove save. The puck loose. Smith dives on top of it, and there's no further play.
The experience of Billy Smith. He wants the stoppage of play because his team has been corralled in their own end of the ice for the last full shift. He wants Al Arbour to change the lines and the defense. There's the shot by McClanahan. Smith tried to scoop it up. The puck got away from him. He dove out, smothered it. McEwen trying to get out of his way as Barry Beck leaps over top of Billy Smith, clearing his skates of the falling players.
5 minutes, 43 seconds remaining in regulation time. Face off to the right of Bill Smith. Al Arbour has Brian Trottier there to face off against Duguay. Goring is out as well. Denny Potvin and Gord Lane. Reese make it 21 seconds remaining in the penalties against Janssen and Patil. Potvin rounds the net. Got it to Lane. Duguay had fallen as Lane comes into center ice. Neat move over the Ranger line. Lane, a backhander, was wide. Trottier chasing the loose puck. He and Dave Maloney bumped together. Trottier got away from Maloney. Slipped it over to Lane. Gord Lane shot. Kicked out by Mio and a stick save. Game's back at 6 aside as Dave Maloney moves to the center ice strike. Dave Maloney checked by Mike Bossy. Bossy fed it up the right wing, but Patil broke up the play. Now Patil off the boards, pulled it away from Thomas Janssen, fed it ahead, over the line comes Rogers. Rogers a shot, Smith the glove save, and Lane cleared it. Lane up the right side, Bossy was checked by Duguay, but Trottier has it. Left side to Gillies, over the Ranger line, a slap shot is high and wide. Bossy on the near side, checked by Duguay. The Rangers break out, Lennon on left wing, checked by Morrow. Now Beck backing him up, dumped it into the Islanders zone and got a body check from Morrow. He took a dive, but no penalty. Bossy firing it back inside the Ranger territory. Lennon rounds the net. Center ice, speared over the Islander line. Allison unable to split the defense. Janssen got the puck to Clark Gillies. Gillies rink wide to Bossy. Bossy across the New York Ranger line, unable to get it to Brent Sutter. Sutter in the corner, knocked down, back on his skates. Here's Gillies with it. Gillies put it out in front. Bossy a shot, that was wide. Brent Sutter comes off the boards, can't get away from Allison. Mikko Lennon for the Rangers. Starts out on the right side. Lennon cuts to the left and dumps it into the Islander territory wide of the net. Wayne Sutter is back. Less than 4 minutes to play in regulation time. Wayne Sutter to John Tonelli. Tonelli into center. Over the Ranger line, trying to come in around Dory. Tonelli centered one out in front. Goring was checked by Johnstone, and here's Allison. Allison at the Islander line. Turned, waited for some teammates to catch up. Patil moved in. He stripped at the puck, and back comes Tonelli. 3 Rangers back. Tonelli over the blue line. Can't get through the defense. Neal played it back in the goal. Allison around to the left side. Patil moves up the wing, runs into Nystrom. Goring comes in as well, and the puck has been cleared out over the line. Allison has it at center. Over the Islander line, right side. A quick shot by Cam Connor was blocked. Connor centers, but Goring was there. Goring off the boards. That'll force the Rangers back. Dave Maloney gave it to Vadnais. Now to Dave Maloney. Maloney bumped by Nystrom as he shot it into the Islander zone. Langevin off the boards to Nystrom. Off his stick. Dave Maloney picks it up. He's into the Islander zone. Can't split the defense. He was knocked down as well. Nystrom behind the net. Got entangled with Fatio. The puck loose. Langevin goes to the corner. He and Fatio fall together, and there's no further play. 2:43 remaining in regulation time. We're tied 3-3.
The toll is starting to tell, Jigs, on the players. They're starting to tire. You can see the play. The puck gets in their feet. They can't get it up onto their stick and get going with it. A game like this will tell on players. They close checked through 2 periods and then opened up in the third, and they are giving it everything they've got. It's a drain. It's an emotional drain as well as physical. How about that? There's our hockey fans, still wide awake, enjoying the hockey game, of course, but probably enjoying Mummy much more. I guess in reality, could care less about the game. I got Mummy's attention. Mummy's trying to give the divided attention between the baby and the game. There's a little game going on right there.
Now he watches Denny Potvin fed it up the middle to Bob Bourne. It went off his stick, shot back in offside by the Rangers. Islanders out shooting the Rangers 26-24 at this juncture.
Jigs, a first period score. Vancouver leading Los Angeles 1-0 in the first period.
Elsewhere we had Chicago well out in front of St. Louis, 5-2 in our last report. Boston and Quebec 2-2. Was that our last report from there?
What, 5-2 did you say?
No, the Quebec-Boston game. Had that gone to 5-2 as well? Gord Lane, a long shot. Mio had trouble with the long shots in the first game of the series. Handled it, played it around. Trache centers, is tipped by Bourne and just wide. Then Beck knocked Trache off the puck. Comes out over the line. Torek at center ice across the Islander line. Bumped solidly by Potvin, and there's Bourne with it.
Fine check by Dennis Potvin on Robbie Fatorik.
After his own goal, Ruotsalainen trying to get some skating room. Has dumped it into center ice away from Potvin. Coming back for it is Kenny Morrow. Gillies upended his man, looked at the referee. Nothing had happened in the way of a penalty, but the puck has been shot into the Ranger zone and will be icing. 1:45 left in regulation time. Gillies just ticked the skate of the Ranger player and he went sprawling. Clark immediately spun around, looked for the referee.
He would not have been surprised if the referee, Dave Newell, had called a penalty. Jigs in Quebec, an overtime game, and the Quebec Nordiques have defeated the Boston Bruins 11:44 of the overtime. We do not know who scored the goal, but Quebec has won their first game in the series against the Boston Bruins. An overtime game, 11:44. Quebec wins.
I'll be darned.
Again, we look at situations where referees do not want to make the call that makes the difference in a hockey game. Newell easily could have called that penalty against Clark Gillies.
Now we watch Kenny Morrow starting out for the Islanders. Gave the puck to Gillies. Gillies over the line. Duguay just grabbed Brent Sutter and physically dragged him into the Ranger zone to get an offside call.
On the side of the Rangers, it's a good play, creating the offside. Gillies could not hold up his momentum, carrying him across the blue line as Duguay dragged Sutter in offside.
Now Rogers against Brent Sutter on the face-off. Puck slipped to the right. Duguay let it go to Vadnais. Now to Duguay. He's over the Islander line. Turned around in the play, and it's cleared into center ice. Dave Maloney fires it into the Islander zone. Coming back is Thomas Johnson. Johnson knocked it away from Duguay. And Brent Sutter works it to the right wing, but out of the reach of Dwayne and Gillies. Art Gillies now back to Thomas Johnson with 1:10 to go in regulation time. Here's Morrow at center. Morrow across the Ranger line to Brent Sutter. Back to Morrow, and it failed to click. Dave Maloney. Maloney left wing to Rogers. It was offside at the Islander blue line with 56 seconds remaining in regulation play. We're facing overtime for the first time in this series, although we faced it in the game at the Nassau Coliseum up until the time Ruotsalainen scored late in the third period of that first game to give the Rangers a 5-4 victory.
In overtime games, Jigs, the Islanders hold a 3-0 edge over the New York Rangers. 1975, J.P. Parisi in that historic overtime goal at 11 seconds. Dennis Potvin. In 1979, the Islanders won 4-3. And Bobby Nystrom at 3:40 in 1979, May the 3rd, Islanders won 3-2.
Now Fatorik into the Islanders zone. Tonelli steps in front of him and slapped the puck into the center ice area. Comes over to Beck on the left side, 30 seconds left. The Islander line, Lane took Fatorik out, and here's Tonelli, checked by Robbie Fatorik. Fatorik to Don Maloney. Maloney a long shot. Bill Smith, the glove save, and he elected to hold on. He had started to go one way. Not to throw it in that direction, came back to his right. There was a Ranger moving in there, so he elected to hold on, and we have 19 seconds left, but a big face-off coming in deep in the Islander territory.
Possibly, Will Paymont has found a team he can play on. Will Paymont scored the overtime goal for Quebec at 11:44. Quebec defeating the Boston Bruins 3-2.
You see Brian Trottier for the Islanders. He has Mike Bossy and Bob Bourne with him, along with Denny Potvin and Ken Morrow. For the Rangers, it'll be Duguay, Rogers, and Don Maloney, with Beck and Ruotsalainen on defense. 19 seconds remaining. Duguay will take the face-off against Trottier. Duguay shortens up on the stick. Trottier got the draw. Morrow plays it around the boards, but right to Rogers. Couldn't center it in front. Potvin works it back in the net to Mike Bossy. Bossy to Morrow. Played it away from Rogers. Now to Potvin. Up to Bourne. Bourne to Bossy with 3 seconds left. Off his stick into the Ranger zone, and we're going to sudden death overtime.
Can you stand it?
Oh, yeah.
All right. Hockey games like this deserve overtime. We talk about it all season long. And here we get a chance to see it.
In that third period, the New York Rangers outshot the Islanders 11-9 and outscored them by a margin of 2-1. So at the end of regulation, the shots are the Rangers 25, the New York Islanders 28. So we'll be going to overtime tonight. The score, Islanders 3, the Rangers 3. Back with a recap following this message. There's a look at the Islander goaltender. Bill Smith has faced 25 Ranger shots through regulation time. Eddie Mio has had a brilliant night in the Ranger goal. He appeared to be shaken up in the first period when he leaned back on the crossbar. He missed the second game because of a pulled muscle. He missed the second and third period of the opening game because of that same pulled muscle. But he has been spectacular tonight. Mio gets himself ready in the Ranger goal. Dave Newell comes to center ice. We've had one game go to overtime tonight. And that one ended at 11:44, was it, of overtime?
11:44, you're right, Jake. You know, I was just trying to think, and I was asking Eric if he knew or could find out how many overtime goals were scored with somebody in the penalty box. I know Dennis Potvin did it in 1980 against the Philadelphia Flyers. I think that was the opening game. Very seldom is there a penalty called and the goal is scored.
Well, the Islanders started to move up. Gord Lane shot one that went into the New York Islander players' bench. So we're going to face off midway between the center ice stripe and the Ranger blue line.
And talking about that, Jake, right at the last 3 minutes of this last third period that we just witnessed, there were several incidents where penalties could have been called, and rightfully so. Dave Newell let them go. By the way, it was Newell who called the penalty against the Philadelphia Flyers that Potvin scored on, with 1 second left in the penalty.
Now we've got an injury at center ice. It's Duguay who's down. I didn't see what happened as the puck came to the Islander line. I followed it, and all of a sudden there's Duguay in a heap in the center ice area. We are 14 seconds into the sudden death overtime.
Trainer's getting the towel. Maybe we can see here. There's Duguay heading for the puck. He went down low. Dennis Potvin got him in the face. Potvin was out to check him, and it looked like an accident. I'm sure that's not deliberate. Potvin does not do that deliberately. He was trying to check Duguay. Duguay was bent low, and the end of Dennis Potvin's stick caught Ron Duguay in the face. There is not a penalty call on it. With the towel out, you'll see the blood. Could have easily been a 5-minute penalty, but it did not appear to be that in the eyes of referee Dave Newell.
Duguay, as you see, is headed down the ramp toward the Ranger room.
That's a big loss in overtime. A spark plug player like Ron Duguay, with his hustle and his ability to cover a lot of ice, is the kind of player you would look toward for getting an overtime goal.
Rogers on the faceoff now against Trottier. Ryan Trottier got it back to Lane. Lane and Potvin moving out into center ice. Lane's long shot, Mio, the stick save, and it comes to the right wing boards and cleared by Silk. All the way down into the Islanders zone. Gord Lane to touch up. The result is a face-off deep in the Ranger territory.
In a debate about overtime games, in this case the Islanders and Rangers, you look at the Islanders' experience. They've been there many times. Of course, the Rangers, their long history, they've had many more games than the Islanders. The Islander players on the ice, on the bench, right now have faced more overtime games than the combined Rangers. Final score, Chicago 6, St. Louis 5.
The Blues came back in that one, but not all the way back.
Vancouver 1-0 over LA late in the first period.
Rache winning the faceoff to Thomas Janssen. He was checked. Bossy at the blue line, then it's flipped high in the air and into the crowd as Bossy and Don Maloney battled for possession. We're 35 seconds into sudden death overtime, and Al Arbor is sending up Brent Sutter, Dwayne Sutter, and Clark Gillies. Johnson and Morrow remain on defense. Herb Brooks, the Ranger coach, decides he'll make a change. Dave Maloney has come out on defense with Vadnais. He's taking a lot of time in sending out Allison, Cam Connor, and Rob McClanahan. Brent Sutter on the face-off against Allison. Nobody in control for quite a while, and then it's dumped into the Ranger zone. Dave Maloney in the corner. Up the boards, held in by Thomas Janssen. Dumps one through in front of the net. It was knocked down. Brent Sutter, a backhander. Mio the save. Wayne Sutter was right there, but there was no rebound in his direction, and here is Allison. Allison checked by Brent Sutter. Eddie Morrow up to Wayne Sutter, turning in his own zone. Wayne Sutter out into center ice. Wayne Sutter, a long shot, sailed high. It's off the glass to Cam Connor. Connor around the boards. That's McClanahan out into center to Allison. Allison at the Islander line. To Connor, he was bumped off the puck, picks it up again at center ice. Cam Connor shoots it into the crowd at the side of the Ranger bench.
Jigs in overtime, NHL 1977 to 1982. 57 games have gone to overtime, including tonight's Quebec-Boston game. 9 have ended in the first minute. That's not going to happen tonight. 5 have ended in the second minute. That could happen tonight. 18 ended from the third to the 6th minute of the first overtime.
I don't care when it ends, just so that it ends the right way. Offhand to John Tonelli. Tonelli up the left side, shot it around the boards. Nystrom in after it with Don Maloney. It came loose for Goring to Nystrom, but Maloney cut it off. Don Maloney to Fatorik. Up this right side, Andre Doré with it. Doré lets the shot go, and it sails into the crowd again, this time deflected off Denny Potvin. We have played 1 minute and 48 seconds of sudden death overtime.
And neither team is playing cautious. They're attacking well. Fatorik led the attack that time. Dory's shot deflected by Potvin. The Islanders had a good chance when Sutter's backhand was kicked away by Mio. No rebound. Gillies was standing right in front, all alone.
Dory dumped it in, and now here's Lane feeding it to Potvin. Manny Potvin sends Nystrom, or tried to, but it was broken up, and Fatorik has Don Maloney moving in on the left side. Don Maloney chased to the boards by Lang. Tonelli came over, unable to pick up the puck. Here's Fatorik going back to the net, put it off to the side. It was under Smith for a moment and cleared by Potvin to John Tonelli. Tonelli couldn't get out of there. Fatorik went to fire one toward the net, and Potvin cut it on. Got it too far for Nystrom. Laidlaw moving in, got it to Don Maloney. Maloney goes back to the net, and Smith knocked it off his stick. Don Maloney unable to center it in front. Laidlaw moves in. Nystrom tied him up, but there is Johnstone. Johnstone shot it in around the boards, taken by John Tonelli. Tonelli out into center ice, 3-on-2. The pass to Nystrom. Nystrom a drive. Veal got a piece of it. It's underneath him. Oh, what a blast off the right side, and Mio came up with another stop.
Hard shot by 23, Bobby Nystrom. Right here, there's the drive. Mio juggled it. He got his right leg out, stopped it, and the puck went rolling forward. He got his arm on it. As we look again, John Tonelli to Bob Nystrom. He rips a slap shot from the top of the face-off circle. Mio made a good move with his left leg, stopping the puck.
And over at the Ranger bench, Duguay is back from the dressing room talking with Herb Brooks.
A butterfly bandage is all you'll have time to do at this point in a hockey game.
Eddie Morrow slaps one right on target. Morrow has been an overtime hero in the past, and he got a good shot away from the right point. It was blocked by Mio, and the crowd reacts as Duguay comes out on the ice.
A welcome sight for the New York fans. Ron Duguay, you see the Band-Aid across the bridge of the nose. He obviously will need stitches, but he won't take time to do it now, not within an overtime. They'll pull the cut closed and try and secure it with a bandage.
Trache on the draw, back to the blue line. There's Morrow with a shot, kicked out by Mio. Trache the rebound, he scores! Ryan Trache on the rebound with a backhand shot. Islanders win at the 3-minute mark of sudden death overtime.
Exactly, 3 minutes into sudden death overtime. Brian Trache, it was the 5th shot on goal by the New York Islanders in the overtime period, and the Rangers disappointed. They had come back a couple of times in the hockey game. Allison and Ruotsalainen gave them a lead. Bourne tied it, sent it into overtime, and Brian Trache. Here we look at it. You know, the unique thing about the goal, Jigs, it beat him on the short side, the same side that Bobby Bourne beat him on. Here's the face-off. Trache wins it. Back to the point. Shot by Morrow, stopped by Mio. Routine, but look at the bad angle. There's the backhand shot, and the puck went off Mio on his left side into the net. Overtime goal, Brian Trache. First ever overtime goal by Brian Trache at the 3-minute mark of the overtime period. Islanders win 4-3.
And the Islanders outshot the Rangers in the overtime 5-0. Trache, Morrow has to get an assist. There may be another one. Here's the announcement. Only the one assist. Trache from Morrow at the 3-minute mark. So the Islanders come into Madison Square Garden and beat the Rangers 4-3. And we'll go to Game 4 tomorrow night, Game 5 on Wednesday night at the Nassau Coliseum. But the Islanders have won 2 in a row and lead the series 2-1. Back with the final recap following this message.
Sergio, jackets by Sergio. You caught my eye because you look so fine when you walked on by. Ooh, jackets by Sergio.
Valente.
Jackets by Sergio.
Valente.
Jackets by Sergio. I love my Sergio. Step out in style.
Well, when you consider all the scoring chances over the regulation 60 minutes, a backhand shot by Trache in overtime is a nice way to win it, but an unusual way. After Mio had made some great saves, he's got to be a little disappointed with the one that beat him, especially on the short side, like you pointed out.
He has to be disappointed, Jigs. The shot was from an extremely sharp angle, not the kind of goal that should go in. It's a routine stop. He should not have to move to make the save. Obviously, he'd moved away from the goalpost just enough that the puck appeared to glance off his left side and deflect into the net. Bad play by Mio, an unfortunate move because the game was pretty close through the first minute and a half to 2 minutes. Actually, it was close right up until that point, but Trottier did win the face-off. That's possession of the puck. That's important at any time, but extremely important in playoff hockey at both ends of the ice. It was in the Ranger end. They gained control, and the puck went right back to Ken Morrow. That was the plan. You could see the way the face-off was taken by Brian Trottier. He moved it immediately back to Morrow. Morrow's shot on the net. Mio made the save, and it glanced off him and went deep into the corner. But it was the backhand shot from an extreme angle. There was only like 2 feet in front of the goal line when he let the backhander go. But again, you go back to Kehoe's goal that beat the Islanders, and his shot was from an extreme angle that hit Billy Smith and went in. And you never know. The thing with overtime, advance the puck and shoot it at the net, because it's these kind of things that you never can count on that may happen in your favor.
The book that the Islanders used on Eddie Mio tonight again appeared to be the long shot, especially in the overtime. The shots from the blue line, Morrow had one away prior to that, Gordy Lane. In that game where Langevin scored from center ice, you don't expect that to happen, but they seem to be using the long shot, and Mio appeared to be a little shaky on them.
And he did tonight. You saw a couple of long shots that normally goaltenders play differently. They'll catch them. When they're long shots, they get a good look at them, they reach out, they use their catching hand rather than stick their pad out, unless it's an extreme occasion. But a lot of times, he was reaching out, Mio reaching out with his leg, making the save, and the puck was not with him. It was around him, and it was loose. And goaltenders do not want to give up loose pucks, rebounds around the net, but he was. And the goal that finally beat them was a rebound. Of course, it was screened. It came in from the point. There was a lot of traffic in front of him. He made the save on it, but it was a freak goal. Brian Trottier's backhand deflecting off in the short side. Bourne's power play goal, you remember, he stood on that same side from that not quite as severe an angle and blew one by him on that short left side. So maybe there's something in that also.
That line, Bourne, Trottier, and Bossy accounting for all 4 goals tonight. Bob Bourne getting 2, Mike Bossy and Brian Trottier the others. Trottier, of course, the winner at 3 minutes of overtime. The final shots on goal, the New York Islanders 33, the New York Rangers 25. Scoring for the Rangers, Fatorik, Ruotsalainen, and Allison. For the Islanders, as mentioned, Bourne with 2, Trottier and Bossy with the others. And the final scores, the Islanders 4, the Rangers 3, and we move now to our Budweiser Star of the Game selection. Is there any doubt?
Well, I could give it to Brian Trottier. There wouldn't be any doubt that way. I'm not going to do that, though, Jakes.
Well,
I'm going to surprise. There is. I'm going to surprise you. Bobby Bourne played a fine hockey game tonight. He's worked so hard. He hasn't been scoring goals. He's been getting his chances. They haven't been going in. And in the second period, he made the score 2-1. And then in the third period, he tied the score at 3-3, sent the thing into overtime, and he played another good game. Things had not gone well for him, and tonight the puck seemed to start to go in for him. Although Brian Trottier, there's no question, it's a big goal, but Bobby Bourne was such a factor throughout the hockey game. I'm going to make him the Budweiser Star of the game. So Bobby Bourne, and I know you'll have it, this Bud's for you.
Okay, final score once again. The New York Islanders 4, the New York Rangers 3. Tomorrow night on Sports Channel, it's Game 4 of the Patrick Division Finals, the New York Islanders versus the New York Rangers. Join Stan Fischler, Ed Westfall, and myself as we bring you the action from Madison Square Garden, beginning at 8:30 right here on Sports Channel. Tuesday night, the New Jersey Nets take on the Washington Bullets in the opening round of the NBA playoffs. Steve Elbert, Phil Jackson, and Bob Goldshaw will bring you that excitement from the Meadowlands Arena starting at 7:30. Remember, when you can't get to the game, get the game at home on Sports Channel. It's your box seat to New York sports at home. For Ed Westfall, Stan Fischler, and our entire crew here at Madison Square Garden, including Eric Hornig, this is Jakes McDonald saying so long for Sports Channel.
ICENET. Dynasties live here.
And if you want Long Island's best team for insurance, go for National Security Brokerage. You'll feel secure with National Security Brokerage. Let's go Islanders!